Takashi Miike is, without question, the father of the mashup genre.
Three cinephiles have come together to bring you strong opinions, controversial statements, epic battles, and plenty of fun. Introducing our host, the man who watches 52 movies a week, drinks 52 beers a movie, loves women but hates the woman. From the foreign land of Canada, our host, Mood616. He is widely known as the man who talks too much. His worst enemies are Postmaster P and Pee Wee Herman. He said Hellraiser was overrated and Leprechaun Origins wouldn't suck. He's the full-blooded half-Mexican, JP. Finally, we have the man who doesn't talk enough. He is best friends with Sean S. Cunningham. His favorite horror movie is Gummo. He is your favorite Jew and mine, Jeremy. Together they are known for extending a helping hand to vampircons everywhere. They are the 22 shots of moods and horror.
Yes, y'all, it's going down right now. Episode 142 of the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror podcast is coming at you live. I am your host, the Dawn Mega Man Moods. Yeah. And of course, I got my two lovers of Asian cinema by my side. First up, we have the man who thought that Ichi the Killer was the blonde Yakuza enforcer for the first hour of the movie. Confused by Asian cinema. Double Shot J, aka JP. And last up, we have the man that will throw a fit every time you post a 4K meme on his 4K post on Facebook. The Jewish boy with the potty mouth. Once known as NES Ruler 22, aka Jeremy. What's going on, guys?
Because it's true.
Yo.
It's really fucking obnoxious. Every time I post something, it's 4K or whatever the fuck you post.
I think
gay.
it's funny, man.
Fuck, dude, oh my god, Watson was just pissed himself the other day. He was like dying, man. I think it's kind of funny too, man, to be honest. But
And rewind a bit. You can't tell me that if you look at Ichi the Killer, any poster, any cover,
Yeah, you think
you're
he's the
like,
fucking
that's
killer.
Ichi the Killer.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking this is flashbacks with the other dude. I'm like, oh, wonder when he dyes his hair blonde.
I thought that too. I didn't know either. This is the first time I
See?
saw it too.
Damn it.
this episode's going to be such a train wreck with characters' names because I can't fucking remember any of them.
Oh yeah.
But I call
That's
him
what I-
the
that's what I
blonde. Yeah, the blonde Yakuza enforcer. Yeah, but they say his name like very close to the beginning of the film, right? So
Well,
right away it's not
Itchy is a nickname or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what Itchy means. Like, if it means something else or if it's an actual name or what.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with most of these fucking movies is they mention all these names like Jinji, and I'm like, wait, which one was Jinji? Was that the guy that they found in the house, or was that the cop, or was that the other guy who died?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck?
No, that was Yoshiki.
Yeah, it is hard.
I was talking about another movie. So.
Oh, I was talking about Creepy.
It is hard, man.
Oh,
because
yeah, I was talking about Creepy.
some
actually.
Japanese names are like impossible to remember, and then when you have like 30 different characters in a film, it's like, oh my god, who's who? Like, you know who they are in the film, but you can't
especially
remember
when all the
fucking names.
movies are like 2.5 hours long, and you're like,
Yeah.
watch 4 of them, and you're like, this is
Not to
annoying.
mention, not to be like super stereotypical, but because everybody has dark hair minus non-itchy, and it's kind of similar looking.
Yeah.
They all have similar hairstyles and dark black hair. It's hard to tell people apart in especially I've noticed in Japanese cinema. I have a little bit easier time in
I don't have
Korean.
a problem with telling the characters apart. I just have a problem with remembering the names. So if you were to say one of the characters' names right now, I'd be like, yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, see, I have both. Like, unless they're very distinguished. Like in Creepy, like the creepy dude, he has a very distinguished face. He has like specific wrinkles and stuff. He's easy to tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely struggle with that, especially in the Miike films where like everybody's like these Yakuza guys, and it's like they all dressed in the same. At least like the non-itchy he dresses like really like bright too,
Purple
to add to the blonde hair thing. Like, he definitely stands out, which was obviously intentional, but
yeah.
we'll talk about that later. This is an episode picked by Sam, one of two, which I don't know when we're going to get to this second Asian director spotlight that we're doing, but this one was a Takashi Miike spotlight. and then we had a bonus review.
Who was
creepy?
Who picked the bonus review, by the way?
Who else? Derek.
Oh
No.
Oh, really?
It wasn't Derek?
I think it was. I want to say it was like Rob Hankins or something.
Yeah, I had no idea about that one. I didn't even I didn't notice it on the Patreon thing. And you're like,
it's on there.
Yeah, I was like, fuck, I didn't even notice it. But
it's just over in the silver section since it was a.
But of course, it kind of fit. It fit the mold of this Takashi Miike director spotlight for length of films, because every film that we watched here was over 2 hours. Well, with the exception of Audition, I guess it was just.
But that's still like 155. Yeah,
but it's 2 hours.
I said this.
A lot. I said
this in the chat, the group chat that we have, Moods, and I was like, this is literally the hardest prep I've had ever in this show's history. I lost a day in terms of like, well, first of all, the week started off bad when we had to postpone the Pumpkinhead show, which is our normal recording time, from Sunday, and do it on Wednesday, which was really weird. We were initially going to do it on Tuesday, and then some things got messed up with my schedule, so we had to do Wednesday. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, wow, like Sunday is really soon, and I have almost 9 hours of movies to watch. More if I count what we watched, but in terms of the featured reviews, straight up like 9 hours of watching. And I was working like this today, like last night, Saturday I worked 3 to 11, and then I worked today, which is Sunday, 7 to 3. So I literally had 2 more movies. I had 3 movies to watch total, 2 more featured reviews. So I got home last night at like 11:30 and watched 4 hours and 20 minutes of Japanese films, and I had to be up at 5:30. I literally woke up 8 minutes after I normally leave because I slept in. So it was like I just got up and got dressed and literally walked out to the car. It was miserable. But yeah, I had a rough go on this one. I watched the Puppet Master movies easier. I watched the Silent Night, Deadly Night movies easier. I watched the Howling movies easier.
Because they're 80 minutes.
Well, the Puppet Master ones, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with the prep for this at all. I kind of spaced it out perfectly, but the films are long. That's
like I literally felt like Jeremy. I was just bitching the whole time.
Yeah, I think that was the most I've ever heard you complain about prep for a show.
Yeah,
before.
I was like, this bullshit. Why? I remember when I watched Gozu or Guza, whatever, and it was like I was like, it's a 2 hour and 9 minute and 30-some second movie, and the credits don't start until 2 hours, 7 minutes and 36 seconds. And I'm like, what the hell? I was like, you can't even give me 5 minutes of credits. You got to run.
Yeah, but their intros are usually a little bit longer.
Oh, Jesus, man. I almost jumped off a bridge, man. I was like, this is it. This is my last one.
You blame Sam.
I was blaming Sam. I was like, Sam, what the fuck, man? And it wasn't a bad show topic. It's just bad timing for me.
Yeah.
I was just miserable, man. I thought I was like, I watched Audition and I was like, okay, one down. And then like, I realized I had some things planned, and I was like, oh wow, there's actually no spots I could watch films except for like ones that require me to stay up super late. It was like ridiculous. But anyway, it's October now. At the time of you guys hearing this, which means the season of Us, the horror season has begun. I know it's horror season all year long for us, but there's just something a little extra special when you talk about October and Halloween. I actually started my 31 Days of Horror. How about you guys?
You're gonna fail like always.
I won last year. Thank you very much. Did I fail last year, Mitz?
No, you succeeded. First time. That was
first time in 6 years.
6 years.
You did it on time?
Yeah.
Yep. Did it on time and everything. No late ones. Everyone was up by, I think, midnight each day. And I did them all. And This year, I will probably have a harder time doing that because I'm 82 prepping during this, and that's going to be hard. Plus shows that we're doing. But yeah, it's pretty cool, man. This is my 7th year doing this. 7th. I know you didn't do the first couple years that we were on YouTube Moods. What are you on, year now?
4. This will be my 4th. Yeah.
Jeremy, what year are you on?
I did one in like 2015, and then I said,
"Oh, that's right,
quitting YouTube."
Yeah.
We put out a challenge this year, though, so I'm following along the challenge. Made it even harder for me.
Oh, you're really gonna fail now.
Yeah,
I'm not even doing it.
I'm not even going to attempt to not fail. Pretty much, like I just know I'm going to, but it's fine. I upload them in January or February, finish them off.
A couple years ago, I thought you were gonna start uploading the ones from the previous year during October.
No. Literally, the one year I almost didn't do it because I was like, I never even finished last year. So September rolled around, and I was like, well, let me finish these final 6 reviews from last year.
Yeah, that's right.
So like literally, the like first week, the last week of September started the 31 Days of Horror, and then from the previous year, it finished it up, and then I immediately started the next one.
Fuck.
It's so funny because I normally always like choke at the same time. It's around 21.
Yeah.
2021. Yeah. Like 2 years in a row is the same day. But yeah, that's
a lot of people. Got a little bit of a head start this year though, because the first week, I mean, we have next week off. Yeah. So I give you a little bit of a breathing room, but I mean, you still got to prep for 82.
Yeah, but I haven't watched I've only think I watched 30, 82 films. I mean, I'm probably going to end up at like 50, 55, which is fair. I mean, I will say this, that the films that I feel like were going to make my top 10 are probably the films that are going to make my top 10 because every single thing that I've watched outside of the films that I thought had a chance have not come close to making it so far.
Yeah. I'm going to stop at 100. Good enough. I got 84 right now. I think that's what Brandon did too, so. But.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm going to fail as always, so.
I'm probably just going to have to review a lot of 82 films during the October, the 31 Days of Horror. That's probably
you don't have a theme this year then? Obviously not.
No, it's I'm doing the challenge. But I'll tell you what, my first 2 reviews, I already have knocked out 7 criteria on 2 films.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I'm just going to keep it random again. I like to pick the film that I just feel like watching that day.
Yeah.
Because I'm moods, that's why. Very moody.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it keeps it fresh though, man. Because if you don't feel like, I feel like if you make a theme and you don't feel like watching that film that's up for that day.
But it's so broad though, and because how we're doing it, where you can knock off categories, like you could realistically hit every single one in like 10 days.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you really play your cards right? Would you say
because think about it, right? Yeah. Like you could do a cannibal film that is also going to count for a country. It could be a first time watch. You got 3 right there,
I think the country one counts for every movie though, because the movie has to come from a country.
Yeah, but it has to be 5 different countries.
Yeah.
So yeah, like my first review is a U.S. film, so I knocked off U.S.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. A U.S. film.
But yeah, I mean,
I think my first movie is a Russian film. I think it's a Russian film.
That's weird.
Yeah, that is weird. But yeah, good stuff, man. So what else is going on with Jeremy? What's going on?
Nothing much.
Got
Same old shit, different day. Arguing with people on the Facebook page about stupid shit and making people angry. I really think I made.
Everybody is saying Hellfest is pretty good. I
think I really hurt Mark Nato Lethu's feelings today.
About what?
About Hellfest. That I said that I called him an asshat, and I think I hurt his feelings.
Why? Because he liked it and you hated it?
Yeah, I was just joking around, and he's like, Oh, and Mark was like, "You'll regret not seeing it in the theater." And I said, "Don't listen to him. He's an asshat." And then he got all mad at me. It's like, it's just joking around. Didn't mean to call him an asshat.
I know Mark has listened to our show before, but I'm not sure how much he knows.
So he's a little bit unfamiliar with how we insult people constantly.
Well, mostly Jeremy, but
he said, "I'm not an adult, and that maybe when I hit puberty, I'll grow up."
See, but that makes me feel like he does know you.
Yeah, that works.
I don't know. I just figured if you post on our page, everything's open. It's fair game. I mean, I still get made fun of.
Did he post on our page?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
It's like I still get made fun of by saying Annabelle Creations average, which it is, even though I gave it a 5.5.
Yeah. Which that was the one I was thinking about that you were wrong on. Because, like, pretty much everybody who I've talked to who's seen that think that it's way above average.
What, Hellfest?
No, Annabelle 2.
Like I said a few weeks ago, maybe I'll have to rewatch it. I thought it was very average in a 5.5 kind of a way.
Hellfest is still in next week. I think I might go see it. Just for that.
Yeah, I'm going to try to.
I don't know.
I'm kind of curious on it. I mean, the trailer didn't look that bad. I was like, the setting looks cool. I mean,
that's what I said. It says it has an awesome Halloween season kind of a feel to it, but I don't understand why people are saying the kills are good, because they're not.
But the thing is also, though, I said this, but you didn't really comment on it too much. Like, you're not really a slasher guy.
But that doesn't matter. But I've still watched them, and I still understand what makes a kill good, and these are not good.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll see it, and I will get back to you on that. I'm gonna try to see it. I think Wednesday. I might try to go see it. So,
I think I'm gonna. Dylan's coming back into town on Wednesday, so I think we're gonna probably go Thursday. Hopefully,
it's probably gonna get pulled pretty quickly.
Well, that's
also,
what I
appreciate
too.
The guy that gave me a compliment by saying last week that Lance Henderson was down in the dumps was a funny comment. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
That was Rob, wasn't it?
I don't know.
From Georgia?
I don't think it was Rob from Georgia.
He told me in chat, he's like, "Man, I lost it when Jeremy said, man, Lance Hendrickson was down in the dumps after his son died." Something. I was like, that's an understatement, dude. But yeah, he also said he laughed really hard when you said if David showed up at the end of like the Predator, and I was like, that's dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he came out of the... It's true.
It was
that would
a different timeline, though.
But that was supposed to happen. Arnold was supposed to be in it at the end. But
you said
like,
David.
Oh, yeah. I forgot from...
You were talking about David from Alien.
Well, maybe it would take place in the same universe. Alien versus Predator.
But the Predator is like present day, and Prometheus is like 2097 or something.
Yeah.
Well, you never know.
But then Rob said
to Prometheus.
He did say, Rob said that technically he is an android, so he could have been made by then.
Ha.
But I mean, anything would have been probably cooler than what we actually got for the ending of The Predator.
Yeah, superhero.
I couldn't believe that. I was like, this is fucking Iron Man.
Oh my god, that shit was...
I should have took more points off just for that.
You can only just laugh at it. And not in a good way. That's the shit that I really don't want to see, because I'm not a huge comic book movie guy. So that was really the last thing I wanted to see. Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? You did see it, so...
I know, but like, come on, man. We're watching a fucking Predator movie, man. It's alien shit. We don't need fucking superheroes.
I was hoping it was going to be an alien egg. Like, this is what's going to stop them or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
that would be too clever. That's too hard.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, it wouldn't have made the most sense considering the alien egg would have just face-hugged one of the regular humans, and it would have been like, oh, well, these things attack us too, so that... something.
Yeah,
like
I can see why they didn't do that. They just didn't want to connect that, but who knows?
Why not? It would have been awesome.
I'm just saying, shared universes are all the rage right now.
Yeah, that is true.
But they were doing it back in 2004, so...
Man, I got really hyped for Halloween and Suspiria after Jason's high ratings on those. Did you see that?
Yeah, we'll see.
I did see that. I was
9s out of 10s.
I was a little bit shocked about the
High
Halloween,
praise.
but
Yeah, I've been
Who
trying to
knows?
avoid everything about that thing.
Gonna have to make our own decisions. We're only 3 weeks away, so
I don't know.
Kinda crazy.
We'll see, man. I mean, I don't really take those ratings and those that serious, to be honest, because we have quite
he's
different
just hyped.
taste.
Yeah, I mean, I mean,
Very
I
different
think
taste a lot of the
Jason
time.
usually, the Jason's not too different. Like I've never seen him like hype a film and then me not like it. You know what I mean? Like I might not be as high, but I've definitely.
I've noticed that sometimes with slashers and shit, man. I think he's a little bit biased at times, though. You know, with his ratings. Well, because slashers are his favorite type of horror film, right?
That's true.
So I think when I saw Halloween topping that whole festival of like 15, 16 films, I was like, well, it's a slasher that might be a little bit biased. I don't know. Who knows? Halloween might be that good. You know, I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. So, and Suspiria, I mean, I think a lot of people were, or I mean, even Jason himself, you know, like he's a fan of Suspiria, but he always says it's a little bit overrated and stuff. So maybe he was looking for that in there too. But I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting.
So you want to talk about our experiencing Sorority Row Massacre, JP, and how it failed horribly?
The Retro Nightmares things that Bloody Disgusting was doing. The first was the House on Sorority Row, which, in my opinion, I thought was probably the most popular. It is the most popular title they're showing. So I figured that one would do the best. You know, it makes sense to lead off with that one. So you went and seen it, and before you went and seen it, you buy your tickets online, and you could see other people who bought them. So how many people had bought them a day out?
0.
Okay,
Besides
what about
me.
like 8 hours out?
0 besides me.
What about like 4 hours out?
0 besides me.
What about an hour before the show?
0 besides me.
What about like during the like previews?
There were no previews, but 0 besides me.
Okay, how many people were in there with you?
Nobody.
That's so crazy.
I don't understand that. Did they not promote this thing well enough or something? How are you the only person?
Great.
I was the only
But it is
person.
bloody freaking
That's
disgusting.
crazy,
They have
dude.
reach and like internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a little bit more successful luck when I went to my screening. There was about 6 people in there.
And I know Neil said he was the only one besides him and his brother and one other person.
Yeah, and then I think Corey said that he was the only one in there too.
So this thing had to
literally,
have not been
people
promoted good
in,
enough.
Like 6 states.
That
But
makes
no, man,
no
it was
sense.
It's
was
awesome.
really- okay, I thought it was because the theater that was hosting it is the Hollywood Theater, which it was one of the coolest places ever. That's where I went and seen the John Carpenter Fest. I seen Hatchet 4 there with Adam Green. Like it's awesome. You would walk in, there's all these like posters and memorabilia from like the 30s and 40s, because I think the theater was built in like the 20s or something like that, and all this stuff. And it was a nonprofit, and some douchebags in Chicago bought it, and they tried to make it work with the nonprofit organization who was running it. There's like this big shady thing that happened about the guy trying to like sell the projectors. I don't know. And basically the Friends of the Hollywood Theater is what the nonprofit thing was called, like moved out of there and said, screw it, we're done. And I walked in there, dude. I haven't been there since they left because they haven't showed anything. They turned it into a second run theater. So like, you know, they play all the films that are pretty much done.
Nobody else wants.
Yeah. Well, not even nobody else wants. It's like they're playing,
Yeah.
you know, Black Panther like 7 months after Black Panther has came out, you know?
Yeah.
And it was so depressing when I walked in. There was all the posters and memorabilia was gone. They had like no concessions. They used to have these like local like pop, you know, like cherry or like root beer, like just like a local company that makes their own pop, and they only had like 2 flavors. They used to have like 9. And then when you walk into the theater, at the very top, they used to have couches and coffee tables up at the top for like people to, you know, a different style of seating. Those were gone. And I think that a lot of people who went to that theater were very loyal. So like normally I guarantee even even that event would have done well because it's like the main thing in that area for anybody who's into horror. And you know, Pittsburgh has a lot of horror fans, and that even like on weird screenings, people the place would be, you know, at least 30% occupancy. And it was just sad. I think a lot of people just bailed and was like, we're not supporting this place anymore because they changed so much. But yeah, I mean, it was cool watching House on Sorority Row. Like everybody who was in there was so spaced out. You could literally me and Carly could literally talk out loud and they wouldn't even be able to hear us.
Well, me too. I'm laughing out loud when he's like,
I'm a sea pig.
I'm a sea pig. I'm sitting out there laughing, cracking up out loud to myself. Drinking my shock top by myself.
If you guys remember when we did the OG versus remake, I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
But this was my second watch. I cannot excuse how how much sense is not made.
Oh yeah.
In the prank. It just
I didn't like it as
I
much
can't
this time
literally
as the last time.
No, me neither. I can't. I still like it a lot,
Yeah,
but
me too.
there's no explanation to that prank. It doesn't work any way you think about how they could have done it.
Yeah.
With the gun, you know, and the firing, busting out the light, and then it just doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah.
So if
Or
there's
how
somebody
she got
out
up into
there-
the attic and she was right where she was supposed to be.
yeah, there's a lot.
Hey man, they're college students. You never know. They're working on a different level. They're working on a different level, man. Totally it can work.
Well, even later, the girl's like, "How was I supposed to know there was a bullet in there?" I'm like, "Well, I don't know. Maybe when you shot out the light."
You put in the blanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That shit does.
That's
not.
really sad, man. That's really sad that there was nobody there.
I know.
blows my
I'm
mind.
hoping they still do Amityville this Thursday.
Oh, they are. What are they going to do? Cancel it?
I mean, maybe,
Like,
but
any type of retro shit, man. If it ever happens I go to that shit all the time, man. Like I just feel like nobody knew about it. Like, how could there only be one person?
I'm going to transfer a shit.
It makes no sense.
no, it wasn't shit, dude. Definitely wasn't shit.
How
It was
did
a
they
decent
project it?
transfer.
How did they project it? What did they use?
Digital. I think they used the old, not the new Scorpion transfer. I don't think it was the new Scorpion transfer.
So the old Scorpion Blu-ray transfer? Because this is their second one.
Yeah.
Okay.
It looked very similar to the Eureka or whatever I have.
Mm-hmm.
So, not sure.
Eureka? The 88 films?
No. What? I don't know if it's Eureka. It's not Eureka. It's that other one. Can't remember. It's like, I think it might be Australian or something. I can't.
Oh, the Cult Cinema one?
Cult Cinema.
Yeah, they're notorious for just like upscaling. They don't even restore their films.
No, that transfer is good on that one.
Is it really? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I've actually heard that about that one, but I've heard some of the transfers that they've done, they've just kind of upscaled and shit.
Yeah.
Which is really cheap. So, well, that's disappointing.
Yeah. But we'll see with the Amityville, man.
It's probably going to be even worse.
regardless-
Who the fuck wants to go see that shit anyways?
Hey, they
you know what's
remastered them.
really
in
cool?
If
4K,
nobody's going to
so-
show up for the good slasher film, no one's going to go watch some fucking shitty-ass Amityville films.
But you know what's cool about that, man, is like me and Jeremy might be like, you know, the two of the only dozen people who've ever seen those films in a theater.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Well,
That's
in
pretty
modern
cool.
times, anyways.
No, because those didn't get theatrical releases.
Yeah.
back
All the
in day.
Amityville films. I thought you were talking about House on
Yeah,
Sorority Row.
because they are, you know, the.
Well, if you look at it like that, that's
fifth
actually kind of
and-
cool. You put
Yeah,
that shit on
that's
your
how I've
tombstone.
been looking at
Put that
it.
shit on your grave, on your gravestone.
They're all remastered in 4K
One of
and they
seven
look all
people,
nice.
one of 7 people in the United States or in the world to ever see Amityville Part 6.
4 and 6.
Is that what it is for? No, it's not 4. Is
No,
it?
it's not 4.
Yeah,
Four-
it's 4 and 6.
4 is a TV movie.
Yeah,
Oh, it
it's
is?
4 and 6.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's the Evil Escapes then?
Oh,
Yeah,
that movie
and the-
fucking
and the-
sucks too.
The 1991.
Yeah, that TV film is shitty. That's funny. Why? I still don't understand why they decided to do that one.
Maybe they had the rights to those ones.
Yeah, it's Amityville, It's About Time, and Amityville, The Evil Escapes.
It's About Time isn't bad. It's better than Part 4.
I don't know. They're remastered in 4K, so I bet you they look extra shitty.
So the full screen 4K? Well, tell me how that looks.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what that looks like, man.
Amityville 4 and 6. What a weird...
That's got to be one of the odder cinema experiences you're ever going to have.
Hey, it's another Tony Randall film. Didn't we do a couple of his?
Probably.
Hellraiser 2.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Oh, maybe, yeah. Q. Well, should we move this along?
Yeah.
All
right, man.
Hey, look at Pittsburgh scored a touchdown. I'm just joking, JP.
Oh, he stole my... I fucking was going to do the same thing.
Yeah, but I said I don't even want joke hints. Stop. This is like you guys make me record games on or shows on the Steeler games. It's fucked up, man. Remember that time Jeremy canceled a show because the Bears were playing? It was like in our first season.
No, I think that's not as bad as him fucking not wanting to record because the Oscars are on. That's the worst excuse in history.
Again, so.
That's the worst excuse ever.
Just record them.
Nobody gives a shit about the Oscars.
And nobody gives a shit about the Oscars.
Everybody that's actually physically at the Oscars are like, why the fuck are we at the Oscars? This is gay.
Yeah.
You know?
Me and Brandon like the Oscars. So.
Well, that makes a lot of sense because Brandon likes a lot of penis. He likes penis.
Yeah, Brandon admits that he just loves penis.
Yes. So, yeah, man. That's the worst excuse ever. That's the worst excuse. But anyways,
there was one. He canceled to go to a concert with his dad once.
Let me guess, it was Yes.
Probably.
No, he doesn't like Yes. It's probably somebody else.
Oh, really? He doesn't like Yes? Oh my god.
Can't blame him.
Fuck you, man.
Don't they have like one song?
No, they have way more than one song, you asshole.
What's the one song?
The Owner of a Lonely Heart. That's really popular.
Yeah.
That sucks.
That's the one. That's the one song.
But that's
Roundabout.
Like that's 80s Yes. That's funny.
Roundabout. Yeah, that's shitty Yes. Roundabout.
I love that
Only
song.
Yes I Know, buddy.
I've seen All Good People. That's popular Yes song. There's a lot of popular Yes.
Just picking up titles now.
No, I'm not.
All right. So let's move this along and let's get into some box office brawl.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Ding, ding.
Ding, ding.
All right. As we mentioned at the top of the show, this week's film on Box Office Brawl was Hellfest from the year, of course, 2018. Opening in 2,297 theaters, and the movie made $5,075,000 for an average of $2,209 per theater.
Yeah. For once, I actually fucking won.
Yeah. I lost to both of you guys.
5 million, dude. That thing fucking tanked.
Well, it was only made on 5.5 million, so it didn't really lose that much money, but
that brings Jeremy up to 12 versus my 19.
Comeback, boys.
And then me versus Moods, he ties it back up at 14-14.
Fuck yeah.
And then Moods beats Jeremy, which ties Moods is now 13-14, losing to Jeremy.
Yeah, that's not cool. That can't happen.
Thought I was going to have a push. Maybe I still will have a push.
Yeah.
Well, that was exciting.
Yeah, I guess we don't.
Is there anything coming out in the next 2 weeks? Because
Goosebumps 2.
We'll post it on the page.
Okay. Then no.
How is there nothing coming out in the next 2 weeks? It's October.
We have
because it's pretty much just Halloween, right?
And Venom. Venom comes out next week,
Oh,
and then
fuck
October
Venom.
12th. October 12th, we have Bad Times at the El Royale, which looks awesome. That's Drew Goddard. It's Drew Goddard's new film, bro.
Is there any horror films coming out? I mean, that one does look cool though. I'm gonna go check that out.
Yeah. Goosebumps 2. Then October 19th, we have Halloween.
Yeah.
And the week after that, we have Suspiria. That's it.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah,
about
but Suspiria is in November, right?
Yeah, I think it's wide in November, but it comes out in October.
Yeah, that's
a little disappointing, man. Like
that is very disappointing.
We've been so horror filled all year long, you know. Like every month there's at least one or two. Like why is October not flooded? There should be 2 new horror films every weekend in October.
That's some poor planning, man, by the studios. They
just don't do it like they used to.
Yeah, why the hell is Overlord coming out in fucking November and not January and not October? That movie's ready to go.
Well, Suspiria should be widely released in October also. That makes perfect sense.
I think Overlord looks fucking awesome.
Do you think everything just wants to avoid Halloween?
Well, they're saying it's going to open to like 45 million, which is like pretty good.
What did the last Halloween make? Or not the last one, the one before the last one.
Halloween 1?
Like, yeah,
they're saying Halloween. 45 million. I say it probably comes in higher than that, I bet.
Halloween opening made 26 million. Halloween 2.
That's a big difference, but horror is way more booming than it was back then.
Here we go. Let's look at the franchise as a whole. So Halloween 2. Now
I know one of them made like 9 million.
You have to remember of inflation. You know, this is 7.5 million in 1,200 theaters. Halloween 3 made 6 million in 1,200 theaters. Halloween 4 made this is opening weekend. 6.8 million in 1,700 theaters. Halloween 5 made 5 million in 1,400 theaters.
What did Halloween 5 make total?
11 million.
That's so bad, dude.
Yeah.
Even with inflation, that's bad.
But Halloween 5 sucks
6,
anyways.
Yeah. Halloween 6 made 7.3 million in 1,700 theaters. Then we have a bump. H2O made 16 million in 2,607 theaters. Resurrection made 12 million in 1,954. And we have a huge bump. Rob Zombie's Halloween made 26 million in 3,472 theaters.
Wow.
I believe that movie had that big of a wide release. And then Halloween 2 made 16 million in 3,025 theaters.
How much did it make?
It made...
Because like that's what I'm kind of liking it to in terms of...
So it made... on opening, it made 123,403,000.
It's not going to come close to that.
No way.
No.
Not even
but
close.
half of that I could see. Because like it had such like pop culture-y push behind it. Like I haven't seen that kind of love with the new Halloween.
Yeah, but there's there's so many fans of Halloween.
But we know that fans don't create the numbers. It's the mainstream that does.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, I don't know. There's a lot of fucking Halloween fanboys out there.
Fans did not make it make $100 million. You know what I mean?
But I mean, Rob Zombie's film brought in 26 million. It's pretty good.
So
that's
I'm
pretty
saying
good.
like
so bringing back Jamie Lee Curtis again.
Jamie Lee Curtis is easy for a 10 million by itself.
Well, look at H2O. Yeah. H2O did well just based on her return.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not a big fan of the film.
Well, also
I think Blumhouse, Blumhouse.
H2O was marketed similar to how this one is, where it's like returning to the roots. You know, it's not fucking cults and Men in Black and shit like that, Thorns and stuff. You know, it's just like returning to the roots. You know, the babysitter murders. Which they're doing that again in this one. I'm really curious to see like just what they do. Like, do they do something cool with the story, or is it just going to be like the basic Halloween story? Because I'd be cool with either one. You know what I mean? Are they going to do something that I was not expecting, or is it just going to be Halloween? Because I would be fine with just Halloween, but I would be fine with something I wasn't expecting too, as long as it feels like Halloween. I'm sure I'm gonna like it. Dude.
Are they setting it on the same night as the original film?
No,
they're not.
Jamie Lee Curtis old as fuck.
Yeah, she has a kid. You dumbass! Haven't you seen the trailer?
No, I haven't.
No, I don't watch the trailer.
No, I've seen like a little teaser thing, but yeah, I was just wondering what they're gonna. Obviously, she's fucking older.
Like
I wasn't sure if they were gonna
today, and a spot came on the TV, and I ran over to the remote and like changed the channel.
That TV spot's supposed to have spoilers. So.
Yeah, I just saw that, so I'm glad I literally didn't see anything.
Yeah.
Man, I've been I don't think I've watched any of the Halloween since we've done the show. Like, I might have watched like one or two, like, you know, here and there or whatever, but I've been kind of getting that itch to kind of check out some of them again.
I've watched Halloween 3 probably 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. Well, we need to do a commentary on that.
Yay.
And
That'd be a fun. That's a fun one to do.
Yeah, there's so much stuff that's good. There's so much funny stuff in Halloween 3. But yeah, so we need to get on those. Maybe next week when we're off, that would be a good time to do them. They're easy to do, at least, you know. Mm-hmm. People paid for them. I don't want to refund people.
Maybe we'll try to pump one out next weekend.
Yeah.
It's gonna have to be Saturday.
One commentary is like
because Canadian Thanksgiving is next weekend, so unfortunately, you gotta.
Moods has to cancel the show because it's Thanksgiving. Aw.
Well,
let's remember the time that Moods had to cancel the show off Thanksgiving.
We're not even recording next week, anyways.
Where the hell are we ever going to get time to do these? Jesus.
Do on a Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday. Yeah,
that's what I said. Next Saturday. Yeah, I mean, if I didn't have to go to my parents' house for dinner,
I can't do it next Saturday.
Aaron's making me go. So
Saturday, I can do it.
So, Jeremy messaged me the other day. He's like, "Why do Canadians steal like our holidays, like Thanksgiving?"
I never said that.
Yeah, remember you told me that once.
Never said that. What the fuck are you talking about?
I think JP's just repeating what he said.
It's like it's not a retarded statement. Like, I'm all for saying when I say something stupid, but I definitely did not say that.
Oh, so you don't feel that way then?
I mean, I'm curious. I mean, why do they call it Thanksgiving?
See, I knew it. I knew he felt that way.
No, you just feel like that. Like, why the hell is Greece Easter different than all the other Easters? It makes no sense.
I never heard of Greece Easter.
Yeah, there's a Greek Easter and there's a regular
Greek.
Greek. Greece is Greek, you dumbass.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, there's like 2 different Easters. It's like, didn't Jesus come back on the same day? Like,
I don't know. You killed him.
I don't know. I don't understand how there could be 2 different stories about when Jesus.
What does your people say?
I don't know. We just fucking nailed him to a cross. I don't know. And he was a Jew too, so fuck you. Do you know Jesus was a Jew?
We do.
I don't know much, man. That's funny though. Not that Jesus got killed, but you know the other thing.
I mean, he sort of deserved it.
Dude.
No, I'm just joking. I'm joking. Now I'm gonna have all these fucking crazy Christians see me.
Yep, there you go.
Well, I don't know. Jason took some pretty big heat this week, so.
Really?
Oh yeah, he was posting pretty pro-life stuff. It was really popcorn worthy.
Yeah, anytime you post anything like with an opinion about politics, religion, guns, life, yeah, it's gonna get messy.
One of the major reasons why I stay off general Facebook. I never go on it.
Yeah,
the shit that people post just annoys the shit out of me.
It's so weird. Like, my general Facebook is so clouded with just horror stuff because, well, I mean, I don't really, I don't know. I don't really get that much. You know who does post like a shit ton of that stuff is Jay Murph. Jerry's boy from Kill the Cast.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I always get suckered into those things. I do.
I don't know. I just think that most horror people are liberals and Jason's conservative, and he posts his conservative views, and it just leads to issues.
Well, I mean,
the only 2 conservatives that I know in the horror community are fucking Jason and Willie Mark 1, who's not even around anymore.
What is technically a conservative?
Which I can't believe that Scotty was actually a conservative. Isn't that fucked up?
Yeah,
like, he watches the most fucked up shit.
See, I don't know what any of this stuff is. I don't follow it. But what is a conservative?
Well, they're pro-life.
Yeah.
And they're pro-guns.
Well, I'm definitely pro-guns.
Pro-death penalty.
Not pro-death penalty.
I'm
I'm pro for killing people who
tax
do
cuts.
bad stuff. I just don't trust the government to do it.
Tax cuts.
All right, that's enough of that. Let's move on.
You asked, I told you.
Quickly.
I stay out of politic talk, man. Fuck
yeah,
politics.
because you're Canadian, it doesn't really matter to you. Our president's fucking up our relationship anyway, so that's enough of that.
Yeah, there's so much politics.
He's just trying to make America great again, dude. Stop being so hard.
Oh, yeah, he's... All right, that's it for Box Office Brawl.
I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work.
They will say that I have shed innocent blood. What's blood for, if not for shedding?
I like to dissect girls. Did you know I'm utterly insane?
Have you checked the children? What do we do?
Why don't we just wait here for a little while? See what happens.
Oh yeah, getting into the what we watch portion of the show, the dubs, where we go round tree, review some films, give some ratings, pass the torch. Y'all know the routine. Jeremy, why don't you start us off this week?
Okay, what do I want to talk about? Let's talk about Gonjiam Haunted Asylum from the year 2018. Now, you give me anything that has Haunted Asylum in the title, I'm going to go fucking watch it, because
I'm the same way with movies with blood in the title and massacre and slaughter.
Yeah, that's the bad. Don't do that to yourself. There's so many awful movies with blood, slaughter, or massacre in the title.
Totally, 100%, man. Fucking torture, straight up torture.
I just think that's like my favorite setting of any horror movie is a fucking mental asylum. I think
just hospitals in general too. I love the hospital setting.
You know,
it's like so much cool stuff you could do with it.
Well, I'm glad I didn't finish this movie because I was actually going to review this on this show.
Yeah,
but I got an hour into it and I got sidetracked and I still need to finish.
What is it? 2 hours?
No, it's like 90
minutes.
It's 90 minutes. I got like an hour into it and totally got sidetracked and I'll finish it tonight.
I could understand why.
I do have this on Blu-ray, and I was interested in it as well ever since we did the Grave Encounters shows. That was the show that was picked by Jeremy, because I love those movies. Like those are kind of like staples in my future like go-tos with found footage now.
Well, like that movie is going to be on a list in a little while. I just want to say that, but this movie should not be compared to that film in any sort of the imagination. This movie comes nowhere near Grave Encounters. It has the same kind of premise where we follow these 7 people. 3 of them are part of this horror webcast that does like very similar to Grave Encounters, where they go to these different haunted places and they make videos and they put it up on YouTube. And they get the brilliant idea, these 3 guys, to go to this Gonjiam, which is a haunted insane asylum, and live stream on YouTube to the whole world. And they bring in these 3 other people who are not part of their clique. They're just people that they randomly selected to be part of this live web stream. And they basically just went in there beforehand and rigged up things to make it look like freaky things were happening. And of course they had no idea that this was set up and not actually real. It was all just for views. And then of course real things start to happen way later into the movie, like 65 minutes into the movie.
Oh, okay.
It starts to pick up finally.
I was wondering when the real shit was going to start happening.
And it's not even like that good compared to Grave Encounters. Like Grave Encounters is, I think what makes that movie so effective and successful is that it really plays with the use of shadows and things coming up on the screen very quickly and disappearing, sound effects and things like that. And this movie, I think, really doesn't do that in a really effective way. I still think it's like an interesting and well-made movie, and it's pieced together well and everything like that. I just think it's lacking anything that's ultimately scary that Grave Encounters had or a similar found footage kind of movie had. I mean, I don't understand why people liked it. I've seen a little bit of praise for this movie on our page and other pages, and I don't really understand why. I mean, I still gave it a 5.5 out of 10. I think, if you like found footage films, you probably might enjoy this one, but I just think that it's just about average. It's not that good, to be completely honest.
I felt like it was a little bit too goofy for what it was trying to accomplish. Mm-hmm. Considering they didn't know that it was a setup at first, which I haven't finished it yet, but they were just kind of fucking goofing around and shit, and the characters were just a little bit too
annoying.
Yeah, almost annoying.
Yeah.
One thing I will give it up though, from what I've seen so far, is the editing was actually pretty decent for it. I think that's what separates good, found footage films from bad found footage films. Is sometimes the editing in bad ones is just noticeable. Certain angles things are just fucked up. This one, they use so many different cameras and camera angles and shots and shit in this one. There's a lot of fucking editing going on.
Yeah, there's GoPros and.
Well, everybody
the live stream.
Everybody has a GoPro. Everybody has a camera. They're literally shooting with it seems like almost 20 cameras at a time, and it's fast editing and shit. So they put in the work making the film or putting the film together. Which I respected. I respected that.
One of my pet peeves with found footage films is whenever the camera gets distorted, the footage gets distorted for no reason. Where it's just all those looks like the tracking is messed up on a VHS.
Well, that's a major problem because
why does that happen?
That's one of my biggest pet peeves too. Is when you see the tracking and shit, and the image goes all distorted and shit, but you're filming
and then it comes
digitally,
back, and then you see
but it's digital. It's digital, and they're giving that analog effect.
I know that could happen, but it's whenever the camera's kicked or dropped, or you know what I mean. It's not that's not going to happen when you're just walking down the hall.
But digital glitches, you get those little miscolorings and shit. A lot of times in found footage, when they put those distortions in there, it's almost like an analog effect, right? It's like your tape is fucking up.
Yeah,
and it doesn't do that on digital cameras. It's just doesn't do it. We know that, and it's little things like that annoy the shit out of me. And I find the other big thing with found footage, we've talked about so many times, is the acting. I can't ever tell when you're watching foreign films, like Asian films.
It's crazy.
If the acting is decent or not, because you're focusing so much on reading the subtitles and shit, and it's harder to tell if their tone is correct to what they're saying and shit in foreign films, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's just so much easier when you're watching an English found footage film. You just know.
Well, they're very over the top and loud, and
yeah, all the characters are very obnoxious. I think it's because they're just excited to be there and shit. But yeah, it was getting a little bit tedious watching it. But I really liked the setting. I thought it was good, and the way they constructed the film, the actual end product visually was pretty good. It was good. Mm-hmm. They did some pretty fucking solid editing in that shit, man. Considering they had to go through a ton of footage, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So give them props.
All right. What did you rate that?
5.5.
Okay. So sticking kind of with the Asian theme that Jeremy just had in our future reviews here, I have a film that is technically not from Japan or China or any Asian country. It's actually a Canadian film, but it has a lot of Asian actors in it, and it's set in Japan. So
okay.
This film is called Slashers from 2001. This was a Mikey Fish.
I thought you said it was going to be set in Vancouver, and I'm like, yeah, it's all Asian people. There's no white people in Vancouver.
So basically, I don't know if it's set in the future or a dystopian future or something like that, but there is the latest craze is a Japanese game show in which a group of contestants are put inside a slasher maze type arena where there's different set pieces and stuff like that, and there's some slashers who are trying to kill them, and all crime is legal during this setting, during
it's American Gladiators with fucking slashers.
Yeah. So you have, but this week on Slashers, and all the S's in Slashers, so the S before the L, the S before the H, and the S at the end of Slashers are money signs. And So this week on Slashers, it's all American contestants. So it's like hosted by all Japanese people, and it's subtitled with the host and the camera crew and stuff like that. But then it's all American contestants.
Sounds like live feed, right?
So
Mills?
they have shot callers on them where they can't. Like, when they go to commercial break, they have to stop the action. So if somebody's about to die, they just have to stop and wait for the commercial and to continue the action. And whoever wins is going to get like $12 million or so. There's one girl on there who is going on just to prove a point that the show is like messed up or something. And then there's a bunch of other generic characters. And the slashers there's like a hillbilly one called Chainsaw Charlie. And then a Dr. Ripper, who is like a doctor theme. And then there's the new slasher, Preacher Man. And so it's kind of funny. Like, one of the first things that happens is one of the slashers rip the top off of a girl. So for the first like couple minutes, she's walking around holding her boobs, like with her hands across her nipples and stuff. And then eventually she's like, fine, you want to see my boobs? You know what I mean? Like, because it's a game show, right? It's like broadcast on TV. And she like removes her hands and stuff like that. Kind of cool.
Did she have nice tits?
She did, actually.
Yeah?
Yes.
That's always a plus.
Yeah. Natural, nice boobs. And it's basically these characters. Like, everybody's like acting is like tongue-in-cheek. Everything's like, it's like a Mikey Fish film, you know what I mean? But it actually is pretty entertaining. Again, Mikey Fish comes with like the weird, obscure, it seems like he likes to focus in the early 2000s era, late 90s, early 2000s. But yeah, it has entertainment value for sure. There's actually a little bit of slasher tropes in there. Like, you know, there's a room where if the contestants have sex, the killers won't kill them while they're having sex, but then after they have sex, like, it's fair game or whatever. And there's some little stuff like that. The slashers are pretty bad in terms of the way they look and the acting, but there's this stupid twist at the end that, you know, is eye rolling and stuff. But it was pretty fun. I'm gonna come in at a 6 out of 10 on this one.
Dude, the end of that movie sucks.
Oh, you've seen this?
I have it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I figured you would.
Yeah.
This seems like it's
Of course, I get a movie that takes place in front of a green screen with a bunch of fucking idiots, and you get at least a watchable movie. Thanks, Mikey. I love you.
Yeah,
Thank you for
Mikey,
trying to make me
Mikey
watch.
doesn't hate me.
It's not bad.
Mikey
Toxic
always gives
retard.
me half decent stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So that was mine.
Alrighty. So, film I watched this week, man. I solely checked this one out because I couldn't pass up the premise, and I'd never heard of this premise before. At least I don't think I've ever seen a film like this. From 2018, the film called The Toybox. This is about a haunted RV, like almost like a killer RV. I saw the synopsis for it, and I was like, I gotta check this shit out. Then I noticed that Denise Richards was actually in it too, and I was like, oh fuck, this is gonna be pretty shitty. And then
One of Howard Stern's best guess.
Yeah, but she actually looks pretty good in this film. You know, for how old she's like in her later 40s, man. She totally doesn't look that old, but. And then it took me like right to like the third act to figure out who this one chick was, this Misha Barton. She was like one of the main stars on the OC, if you guys ever watched that show.
No, we're cool.
I never really watched the
actually
OC.
pretty good.
The wife used to watch the OC all the time. That's where I recognized her from.
Sure, she did, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't sit there with your tissues.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No.
That's what they
the
all
wife
say.
watched. She loved that show. So, but anyways, yeah, the Toybox 2018. It's basically about.
Who was your favorite character, Moods?
I didn't watch the OC. I don't know. I just recognized her face. I think she did like commercials too and shit. It's like, but in this, she looks a lot older in this. I don't know. But anyways,
Mood's got her whole filmography in his closet.
Yeah, all of her romantic comedies and shit. Of course.
He's like, oh, I found a rare commercial from '97.
Oh, this is a good L'Oreal one, man. Oh,
Gotta get my tissues again.
So this movie basically is about this estranged family. This father, he wants to get his sons back together, and something in their past happened, and the family kind of all parted and went their separate ways and shit. And there's a lot of animosity and things that are going on, of course. But of course, he buys this used RV, and he wants to go out to this remote area, and I think it's in California, and check out these paintings and shit inside these caves and whatnot. So the whole family agrees to, give it another shot, put the family back together. And of course, what they don't know is that this RV is actually haunted, and it starts to pick them off one by one. Now, right away, I was like, man, this movie is just like, it's got the most ridiculous premise ever. Because the way I read it, I thought it was a killer RV film. Like, the RV itself was going to be running down people and shit. There actually is more to the story than this. It's actually haunted by a serial killer who used the toy box or the RV as his killer domain. And so all this crazy shit starts happening and stuff. It's actually pretty fucking cool, man. There's some good kill. There was one really damn awesome kill in this film that totally caught me off guard. And that doesn't happen very easily or often. But I was like, damn, that was creative. So I give him props for that shit. But all in all, for more or less a contained film, most of it does take place in the RV, a little bit outside of it and stuff. It's a small film. I thought the acting was pretty decent for the most part. The kills, not too bad. It had a decent runtime. It actually went by pretty damn fast, but the premise itself was just original, and that's why I wanted to check it out. I mean, every premise has been overdone a million times. Like Jeremy's film, that premise has been done a million times, These game show things, like JP's review. Same shit, man. But this one I had never seen before. I thought they executed pretty good. Some of the way it comes together with the serial killer and shit is a little bit to the point where you kind of have to disconnect yourself from all reality and be like, okay, I guess that's the way it could go down. I mean, it is on the supernatural side of things. So at that point, I guess you can. But it was an interesting film. I kind of recommend it, man. I'm going to give this one about a 7 out of 10. I actually really enjoyed it. It's pretty fun stuff. Check it out.
That one didn't, I expected it to suck, and then you kind of turned it around, just by the title and then the early premise. I was like,
yeah,
this sounds like it's gonna be bad.
Yeah, well, it was weird because, like I said, I'd read it as a killer RV, and I was like, how the fuck are they gonna do that, But then, you get introduced to the serial killer and that kind of story and shit, and it was kind of interesting. There was some, it held its own. It held its own. It was very entertaining for what it was. By the time it ended, I was like, damn, that was 94, 95 minutes. That didn't really suck.
Dude, imagine if you made Christine, right?
Yeah.
And you know how the lead character in Christine is just all obsessed with the car. Imagine if it was just an RV that was in the garage and he's like, look at the paint.
Yeah,
that would be funny. And somebody should do that.
I will say too, man, the toy box, it actually has some balls. It did something in the film I'd never expected it to do. So that was another major pro to the film, because you don't see these things happen very often in films, and when they do, they're still shocking to people. So I give him props for having the balls for doing that shit and having the original premise. So yeah, you like slashers, like supernatural slashers, give the toy box a shot. It's pretty cool. And no, Denise Richards does not show her tits.
Oh man,
unfortunately, because
actually they'll be all wrinkly anyway.
I don't know, they're fake, right?
Yeah.
So they might be holding their own, but yeah.
They're probably 90s fake, though.
90s fake?
Plastic surgery has come a long way. 90s boobs, 90s fake boobs were way more plastic looking than they are now. Mm. I mean, they still look fake, but I got what you were saying.
Yeah, they look all fucking big and bubbly.
Yeah. All right, so that is what we watched. Yeah. 22 shots. All right, so moving along here, and before we get into the featured reviews, we have a bonus review, which all three of us will be part of. This was sent to us in from...
No, one of us are going to leave. Fuck you guys, I don't want to watch Creepy, I'm going to leave.
I thought that was going to be the case at first when I got home last night. I was like, I might have to bow out of this one.
Who sent this one? Who sent this one over? This was a Patreon picked.
I do not have the page up, do you?
No, but anyways, this is a Patreon pick.
I'm pretty sure it was Rob. Pretty sure.
Rob from Georgia?
Rob.
No.
All right.
No.
But you know who you are. Patreon pick, film from 2016 called Creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Just creepy.
Yeah, so this was one, I mean, did any of you guys see this before? Because, like, this would have been something we would have during prep.
No, I'd never seen this one before.
Either 15, 16, or 17,
and I
think.
thought I hadn't even heard of this until I clicked on the IMDb and I recognized the cover for it.
Is it a horror film? Is the question.
No.
No, I don't think it's a horror film either.
So I didn't see this one whenever it would have been available to see, 16, 17. So I don't. Had you guys heard of this one before?
No.
Yeah. So I've probably seen it somewhere, but I recognized the artwork right away. So, but anyways, Creepy from 2016. Synopsis. Oh man, it's like getting into the Asian names. Now I'm just gonna fucking feel retarded.
Welcome to my world.
Takakura is a former detective. He receives a request from his ex-colleague, Naogami. Oh, fuck this. Jesus.
I still said it wrong. I said it was Yoshiagi or something earlier. God damn
Naogami. So Naogami, to examine a missing family case that occurred 6 years earlier. Takira follows Saki's memory. She is the only surviving family member from the case. Meanwhile, Takira and his wife, Yasuko, recently moved into a new home. Their neighbor, Nishinamo, oh fuck this, man, has a sick wife and a young teen daughter. Oh fuck that, yeah, Takakura. One day, the daughter, Mio, tells him the man is not her father and she doesn't know him at all.
Man, mood Steven laugh.
Whoever put that synopsis together kind of was all over the place in that one.
Yeah, it definitely is all over the fucking place. So, I mean, the film starts out with the backstory here of our detective Takakura. So he was obviously a cop.
Oh, it was Mark Letham, by the way, I think.
Okay. So we get a little bit
Is that the guy that I just bashed earlier on in the show?
No.
No.
Different guy. So this one starts out, the prologue, it's got a little bit of a backstory to why Takakura is not a detective anymore, but now he is a school teacher, or he's a professor at a university.
I don't understand really
He gives
why.
like lectures.
Yeah, he specializes
in criminal. Does
criminal.
he go crazy or what?
No, he specializes in criminal psychology and stuff like this, because that's what he was into when he was a detective, into the psychology portion of investigations and stuff. So that's why he went into it.
I just don't understand what made him not to be a detective anymore. I mean, there's
he got stabbed.
Well, because
because
that serial killer that obviously stabbed the shit out of him and then got shot. It was the trauma. I mean, this happens to cops all the time. You know, something traumatic happens in the force, and that's it mentally.
Japanese cops are fucking.
Or sometimes people get
remember.
stabbed and then they're like, I think I'm gonna not do this anymore.
Exactly. You know, once your life has been risked to that point,
Japanese cops are fucking pussies. But American cops would be like, "Fuck that! I'm going back."
Thing is, though, dude, it's not always your choice because you have to be mentally cleared to go back too, right? After something happens, like if you shoot somebody,
go through all kind of psych evaluation. At least in America.
Yeah, well, in Canada, the same thing. If you shoot somebody, you got to go automatically. You're on leave, and then they have to mentally evaluate you, and you have to be ready to go back and stuff. So it's probably the same thing in Japan too. I don't know. Anyways, he made the conscious decision of quitting the force and then going into teaching. So he moves into this new house. We get introduced to this neighbor. He's fucking really creepy ass dude.
Yeah, that he is creepy.
He's awesome.
He definitely is fit for the part, man. This guy is definitely creepy as shit. So anyways, he's got this really creepy neighbor, and one of his former partners or detectives and shit asked for his help in this cold case. And so he kind of obliges to it.
Honestly, that's kind of weird how that case thing comes about, because does he actually ask him for help, or is he just asking, dude, like, what's this case? What's that case? And then gets interested in more. It's like weird how they play that scene out.
No, he basically comes right to him. He's like, because he had involvement in that case before. That's why.
But they look at other cases first.
Yeah. Yeah. But this
is like, hey, I got some cold cases, and then that one kind of interested him.
You know what? With cold cases, you can reopen them anytime and stuff. So maybe he just decided to reopen that one. Who knows? But the thing is that Takakura, he had a connection to that case prior, so they really wanted to kind of look into it a little bit more. since the girl was a little bit older, and I think that's what the detective's thought process was, is that the girl's older now, and this guy's into psychology. He was hoping that he could kind of extract some memories and to crack the case, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's what the idea behind that was. But so you kind of have these kind of two subplots or these two plots that are going on. We've got this cold case that he's investigating, and then we've got this weird ass fucking neighbor shit that's going on.
And that really doesn't really go anywhere. I mean, it's kind of
here's the thing. Here's the thing. It does go somewhere, but it's like, oh, guess what? These are connected. What are the odds?
Yeah.
Dude, that is what, like...
These type of setups are so obvious because you know that these two side plots or these two corresponding plot, they're gonna connect each other.
Mm-hmm. But doesn't it just feel like way too coincidental?
Yeah.
Like, what are the chances that they moved next to the guy that was in the case that they...
This is my biggest problem with the film, is that he moves right next door to who they're trying, I mean, no spoilers.
It's convenient.
But it is it's very convenient writing. And, it's just like, what the fuck? It's like you didn't even have to try.
But that's not the only thing that's convenient about this film either. Like, they're like, oh, let's check out the area where that girl was. Oh, look, there she is standing there. What?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I wrote that down too. Like, she's just there at the time that they're there. Yeah.
Good shit.
I just said that, like, she's there at the same time that they're there. That makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, and it happened 6 years ago. How the hell are you going to know what she looks like? You know what I mean? You're going to be like, oh, that
she's like, I think she said, oh, I lived here or something like that.
And didn't they also say that she just returned too? Like, she just came back at the same time that they went and looked there?
Yeah, she did.
What the fuck, man?
There's a lot of very
convenient moments in this film. This has to be supernatural.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Very
but
that's not it. Like, there is so much good stuff in this movie, but there's so much stuff that just literally leaves me.
This is this is a very slow mystery type thriller film. I mean, we get this, the backstory.
The best
in the beginning.
Parts were like the uncomfortable, awkward moments with the neighbor.
Yeah, exactly.
The extreme
That's the story that it should have been. That should have just been the story.
It's the
like, you didn't need that detective narrative going to find that other girl. You could have just had it. Like, all that stuff felt like a waste to me because it just convoluted the plot.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I said. Like, it goes somewhere, but it's like it doesn't really. I mean, it doesn't.
The only place
figure out what they have.
They're connected.
Yeah,
that's the only place.
But then it ends. Like, we don't see that girl ever again or anything like that. It's kind of fucking stupid.
Yeah, even though the way it connects and stuff, you're right. You probably didn't actually need that part of the investigation at all.
No, think about it. If you cut that completely out and this guy just starts investigating into his neighbor instead of investigating into another case and making a connection to its neighbor. What if he just started being like Rear Window-ish, like, started like, man, this guy's weird, and he starts looking into him, and like, that makes more sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like there's the middle part of this film is almost too slow for its own good. It's nothing, but there's really nothing happening but investigative stuff. A lot of interactions with the creepy ass neighbor and shit, but it takes a long time to start getting going. Like, I think there's an explosion, that scene where he blows up the fucking place. And that's like 75 minutes into the film. It's like 75 minutes into the film. That scene did not make
sense unless one of you guys can explain it. So the cop goes to check this guy out. Then it cuts to an explosion, and then his body's in another person's house.
Because the guy, he went to investigate the neighbor, and the neighbor fucking must have drugged him or something and dragged him to his neighbor's house.
Yeah.
Put him in, and then turned the gas on.
That was a detective.
Okay, so why do we not see that?
Well, I think it's just implied that he went to investigate the neighbor. He opened the bathroom door.
The reason you don't see it is because it would be ridiculous, and you would be like, "Wait a minute! Like, nobody's gonna see him dragging his body across. Like, what the hell?" You know what I mean?
I'm not saying it's not ridiculous, but I'm just saying.
It definitely is implied, but that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, no, that's what happened. It's just the reason they don't show it is because it's even more ridiculous if they showed it than just expect you to believe.
Well, they did kind of explain it a little bit, like, oh, he was trying to sell his gun or something like that, or I forgot what the fuck he was talking about. But
I assume that the bad neighbor set that up.
Yeah. Well, he has his gun. Yeah. That was what was in the safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, why not set it up and try to get rid of the one person that's on your ass right now?
Yeah. Well,
Right?
I'll tell you
So
right
take 'em
now.
out. Yeah.
The third act of this movie gets extra dumb.
So
I just don't understand. What does he give them? What does he give them that makes them act like that?
Okay, see, that's what
it tranquilizes you, but it brainwashes you at the same time.
I was reading into it that apparently he's supposed to be brainwashing them. I had to look online because I was like, apparently he's brainwashing them, and the tranquilizers just to keep them from like escaping and things.
How is he brainwashing them? He's creepy and he's crazy, but
see, that's the thing.
That's my point exactly.
That was leading into my biggest complaint of the film too. Is that the way I was perceiving it was that the tranquilizers were helping the brainwashing out too, because you don't get to actually see any brainwashing going on. He's just there. Yeah. Right?
It's why doesn't the girl just like leave?
And even if it is the medicine that's doing it, you can't. That is a cinema sin. You cannot just create a magic pill that does something with no explanation or narrative to that.
Well, I literally have this written
down. There's this liquid, and now they're acting like this.
I was like, what the fuck is this magic serum? I was like,
what is the liquid made out of?
Yeah.
Is it made out of a plant? Did he create it himself? I've never heard of this liquid that brainwashes people. You know what I mean? Like that stuff matters to me.
I know.
So this movie was extremely frustrating because it was so cool at certain points. It was so good at certain points, but it really started to annoy me, especially when like it first had there's not even an explanation. Like, okay, why did the girl not ever tell anybody until that one moment where she's like, that guy's a stranger, and then she walks away? Well, you just told him, you might as well roll with it.
Yeah, just run to the cops, you fucking dumbass.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that I don't understand about that though is that this neighbor is obviously creepy. There's something up with this guy. But Takira, like, he's not really fully catching on to it. And then even when she tells him that he's not my father and shit, he still doesn't really take it that serious.
Which makes no sense considering his character was all suspicious of him. He said literally, I don't trust that guy.
Yeah.
I would, if somebody would come to you and be like, this guy's a stranger, like a cry for help, and you're a detective or was a detective, I feel like you might take that seriously.
See, that's where I didn't understand, man. Being a former detective, if somebody tells you, hey, this guy isn't my father, like, isn't that red fucking flags going off right there?
Especially if it's a guy you already thought was a weirdo.
Yeah.
And who, like, said some weird shit about your wife and stuff. Yeah, absolutely. And another thing is, how did he get this house? How did he get this, like, soundproofed, like, basement thing?
Well, even at the end, he's like, that's going to be our house. So what the fuck are you talking about?
There's so much shit that don't make sense in this. Whenever the woman goes over there and like, okay, why does she go over there and then the girl admits to killing the girl is just like, oh, Mio killed her. And Mio's just like standing there. It's like, don't you think that's the time to be like, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
Or like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
The Japanese police force must be horrible because they fucked that guy up and like nobody comes and asks like, where is he? Considering he's like the fucking lieutenant of the police force, it's like shit.
Bro, after talking about this movie, I liked it even less. I had it at a semi-decent rating.
Me too.
But after talking through it, there is so many problems with this movie.
There is, man. It's too convenient, man. There's just so many things that I felt like there was way too many red flags going off that weren't being addressed properly in the film. Right? And that was and I was like, this doesn't make fucking sense. Like I mean, he's an ex-detective. His job is to be fucking curious and take everything in that is being said to you. Like things like, hey, he's not my father. He's a stranger. Like why? Like right at that moment, you should be like, okay, come with me. We're going to deal with this right now. You know, and I don't know, man. It's insane. But to be honest, man, the whole tranquilizer / magic serum thing was really getting on my nerves because once that gets revealed in the film, what's going on, it just, the way it's revealed to you, it seems like that serum is what's brainwashing you, right? Because he talks about dosage. Because he literally talks about dosage. And
did you give your mom the right dose?
At first, I thought it was heroin to keep them like doped up into where they, like, if you're a heroin addict and somebody's feeding you dope constantly, Like, you're not going to run away where there's no dope.
Yeah,
You're
look at
gonna stay where
Pumpkinhead
there's
3.
dope.
That bitch didn't run away.
But yeah, so
which kind of makes sense actually. At first, I thought it was that too, to be honest, because I think when she gives her mom or the girl, whatever.
I don't even know. Is that her mom or no?
No. No.
Is it her mom?
No, I don't think so.
No.
It's just probably Jesus.
And then at the end, when they fucking like shoot her, and then she starts like laughing and snaps out of it. It's like, you weren't like that 2 seconds ago.
Actually, I do think
also makes no fucking sense.
Actually, come to think of it, I think they do say that was, she was the daughter of, because we never see the father alive in the film. He was dead when when we see in the basement there.
Yeah.
So I assume that he had taken his identity, right? He had stolen his identity, and I assumed he was paying the bills through their accounts and things like that too.
I have a question real quick.
Yeah.
There's a scene not early on, but like midway through the film where the husband is like eating dinner or something, and then he hears his wife on the phone, like on the stairs, and then he gets all mad. He's like, who are you talking to? And she's like, I don't have to tell you. What the fuck was that about?
I don't remember.
I don't know. She's talking to her high school friend.
But was she? Because I almost feel like she was lying. Like, that scene just came out of that scene felt like really pointless to me.
I honestly felt like there was way too much time spent with his wife in this film.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
well, when she's with like, there's like some good scenes in here where she's like interacting with the neighbor, you know, and he's all like creepy. And like, I love that stuff where she's like, I would love to meet your wife, and he's like, why would you say that or something? And it's like, what?
Well,
did you mean
those scenes make sense. I'm talking about the husband and wife, like just scenes with them. You know, again, you know, this is a film that runs, 2 hours and 10 minutes, man. That could have been a lot fucking shorter. I think they could have cut out a lot of the investigative stuff. I think it just goes on way too long. Way too long.
Yeah. And it's like a mystery thriller. There's like very little horror.
Yeah, it's not a horror.
The most horror thing is like the way they like vacuum up the bodies.
There's an hour, like over an hour, almost 70 minutes in this film, in the middle of the film, that it's just pure investigative stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing really happens. It's very, very, very slow. You know, like a lot of the revelations and reveals and things happen in like the last kind of 25 minutes kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So the ride there is very slow. I mean, to be honest, the only real interesting character in this film is the creepy ass neighbor. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I find the wife to be, I think that she was terrible in the film, like acting wise. You can tell like her emotions were a little bit.
See, I thought she was good
at the end.
I didn't think so.
When she's like screaming in his arms, it's like, oh my God, just what I want to end the movie with.
But I will say the scene where they're vacuum packing.
That was cool. That was creepy.
Yeah. That was a good scene, man. I was like, damn, that's... Ooh.
Yeah, that was like, this is the closest resemblance to horror in this movie.
It's pretty nasty.
Now, Mark's probably sitting there like, man, I actually like this movie.
I think Derek's
it's not a bad movie.
It is. I wouldn't say it's a good movie. I would put it that.
I honestly, it was tedious for me. It was very.
It's
very
well
tedious.
shot.
Yeah.
It's the it feels like it has a budget. You know,
it needed explanation.
Looks good.
If you're gonna have a 2 hour and 10 minute film, I think you need to explain the psychology. Considering our main character in this film is dealing with psychology.
If your movie's 2 hours and I have a shit ton of questions for you, but it's not a movie that's like, style over substance. It's actually a narrative film, and I have all these questions in 2 hours. You done fucked up.
Well, they should explain, since we're dealing with a psychological type film, the psychology of things. There need to be more explanation for the whole controlling of people and shit. Wouldn't that make a lot more sense in a film like this? Then you could kind of go, oh, well, that makes sense why this creepy guy, like how he's doing it and shit. But if you're questioning everything that's happening, that's not good. That's not good. And I'm like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. I'm like, how are they controlling? And then the very end with the professor, and is that supposed to be like a twist? I guess I don't know. But
all right,
I'm just glad they didn't shoot the fucking dog.
Yeah, I
thought
like
that was
that dog.
cool.
That dog was pretty cool.
Although we'll talk about another dog part in a
But
minute.
you know, there's a scene
Yeah.
where the dog's supposed to be like attacking the neighbor, and he's clearly just like, "Hey,
Like-
buddy, what's up? What's up? What's up?" You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
the
that's
dog-
what happens. Like, I've worked with dogs before, and I don't know what it is in Japan. I know here, like, working with dogs, it's like worse than working with people. There's like so many rules and regulations you have to do when you work with animals. It's like it's a huge pain in the ass. And
yeah, it's like kids.
he's just looking at his fucking trainer. You could tell that's what he's fucking doing. He's just looking at his yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, no,
JP.
what's that?
Nothing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was
You
thinking.
can do ratings. Ratings.
I'm sorry. I was just okay. I'll go first. This movie, like, there was way too many questions that I had that weren't answered. Stuff that was convenient that didn't make sense. I wanted to like this movie. There were like early on enough. When she first meets neighbor and stuff, I thought this movie was going down a road that I was going to enjoy, and it starts to, and then it quickly deviates. The whole second subplot that eventually connects to the first one, completely and utterly pointless. You cut that entire thing out and you got a 90-minute movie, and probably better. I cannot give this one a pass. 5 out of 10. I guess 5 is a pass. I don't know. Is a 5 a pass?
It's average.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't consider average passing. I consider it like a D minus.
Well, if you get 50%, I mean, 5 out of
Yeah.
10 is 50%. That's still a pass.
Is it though? Is 50%
No,
pass?
60.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's a fail.
Yeah, in fucking college and shit. I'm talking. Well, they don't even do grades anymore and shit.
No,
It's,
It's 60.
In high school, 67 is passing. Anything under is failing.
Oh, really? Not
well, it
it's
wasn't.
60
It
here.
wasn't in my day.
65.
Yeah, because you're Canadian. Canadians are retarded because they say things like, I'm going to phone you, and I'm in grade 7. So it must be a Canadian thing.
Do I have to keep sending them the movie clips, man, to prove that Americans say that too? Like, really?
It's never in the same context.
It is fucking too. It 100% is in the same context. That's what the fucking funny thing is. That's ridiculous.
Are you sure?
Yes,
I don't think-
100%,
I don't think so.
100 fucking percent, 100%. And you probably don't even watch the clips I send anyway.
100%. Then I mean, that's a little.
Oh, you
different.
got to put a fucking cursive in there, man.
I'm in 7th grade, not grade 7.
I agree with Jeremy on that one. No,
because there's a right and wrong way
it's
of
not
saying the
a
7th
pa-
grade
I
or
don't
the grade
consider
7.
a 5 a pass. Is what I'm saying.
All right.
So, who's next?
All right, so I had a lot of problems with this movie too. I wanted to like it. I thought the premise was okay, but too many questions. Like you said, there is way too many things in this film, way too many convenient things. I honestly wasn't a big fan of the ending either. And it's too fucking long. They spend way too much time in this film with the subplot trying to connect this thing, which I agree. It was tedious. This was a very, very tedious watch. It's photographed beautifully, though. It's shot well. You know, I thought the acting, like I said, I thought the mom was a little bit off at times. But, I mean, it wasn't horrible. I gave it a 5.5.
Oh, Ben just broke his leg. Oh, shit.
Shut up.
Oh, Useless Burger broke his leg? Fuck. That's amazing.
I give it a 6. I'll give it a pass.
Well,
All right.
according to math, 60% is not a pass. No, I consider 6 a pass. All right, what's the next? I can watch that shit at like 2 a.m. and I was fucking frustrated.
And now, our feature presentation.
All right, so let's move this along and get into the featured reviews here, which, of course, is Takashi Miike, 3 films. We've got Audition, first up from the year 1999. And we get into Ichi the Killer and also Gozu.
That's actually the order I watched them, yet I didn't know what year they came out.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
I watched them. Like,
Were you shocked to find out that Audition came out in the 90s?
No, I knew it came out in the 90s. I did know that. I knew it was late 90s, but I did know that.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure this was the very first Takashi Miike film I'd ever seen before. I want to say it was.
I think that's the case for most people.
Yeah, because he'd done a lot of movies up until this point, but I don't think a lot of them even have
many of them get to America at that time.
No, this is I think this is the very first one I ever seen.
It's like his breakthrough film.
Yeah. So
it's the one that I remember when I went into the got into the community. Everybody was talking about to watch in their top 10 disturbing list, and that's some bullshit.
I've never understood why this one was part of the whole disturbing cinema movement thing.
I used it in our disturbing cinema intro.
Like I said, it's number 3 in my top 10 overrated films of all time list for a reason.
All right, well, let's get into this here. So, Audition, directed by the infamous and insanely busy Takashi Miike.
Hardworking.
This guy has 103 credits to his name. I think 102 movies.
Last year he directed his 100th film. Yeah. Now he's on his 103rd.
Yeah, it's just mind-blowing how this guy managed to put out so much material. It's crazy. It really is crazy to me, but Takashi Miike, man. Synopsis. A widower takes an offer to screen girls at a special audition arranged for him by a friend to find a new wife. The one he fancies is not who she appears to be after all. I've always liked the premise to this film.
It's a classic story, right?
Mm-hmm.
It really is. Like, the premise is just, it almost feels dirty to me a little bit. Like, you're just kind of cheating.
Listen, you know what's cool about this movie? This movie is like May, but from the male perspective instead of from May's perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you kind of look at it like that.
It's 90% drama and 10% horror.
Maybe we should do this for Jeremy so he can get a girlfriend. This wouldn't be a bad idea.
Let's hold an audition. Oh, question.
For the movie that 22 Shots is making
a movie?
No.
Okay.
No, they never were.
I thought he said he was going to make it.
No.
Yeah, I thought there was some conflicting dialogue there.
Yeah, because there is a part where they literally say that it was fictitious. They get into
talking about, like, don't pick the girl that we cast or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, wait, I thought it was fake.
Yeah.
Are you casting people?
You're right. They do say that, but I don't know. It was supposed to be fictitious right from the start.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of odd in itself. I mean, Jeremy, you would probably know this better.
It's a weird way to get a girl. Like, that's not the first idea.
It's a little bit dirty. It's a little bit scammy, a little bit.
I don't know what kind of
edition
you do.
It's not only just scammy. It's just like it's very extravagant.
So if you're working,
date.
So if you're working for a studio, Jeremy, like you're a casting director, are you going to have the time to falsify an audition with 30 people in 10-minute intervals? This is like an all-day fucking thing. Is this going to happen at your studio?
The last commercial I worked on, they had 400 people come in for, I don't know, what was it, like 18 roles or something. And, you get like 2 minutes per person. So,
yeah.
I mean, I can see it being that realistic, but like 10 minutes per person, that's like that would never happen in a first audition.
Well, I mean, to be honest, it was only 30 girls. Like he specifically gave them a number. He's like, hey, pick 30 girls from all these, these profiles, and we'll just go to town. So I mean, I guess it makes sense, 10 minutes, whatever. But
it's just like where the questions that he's asking them and stuff like that.
But my question to you was, could this possibly happen at a studio? Could you actually just make this false audition without anybody really not?
Are they?
No, because
they're just in an auditorium somewhere.
They're in a studio.
No, they're at the studio. Yeah, 100%.
They work at a studio.
Yeah,
it's
a film studio.
Know that.
Yeah. He founded it after his wife died.
Yeah,
I literally missed that part.
Yeah, and this guy was actually a casting director, so this is what he did. So he's like, well, fuck, we have all these profiles, pick 30 girls, we'll bring them in, and then you pick one. It's actually,
well, how he owns it? Why couldn't he do it?
Yeah,
I guess so.
Why not, right?
Do whatever the fuck you want.
You're just gonna get a bunch of non-union people.
Well, no, my question was, it wasn't the fact that he owns it. I was just wondering if this could possibly ever happen in the studio. It's just,
not a big studio.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
Because the big studios is like mainly hiring people who are in SAG, and that would never happen.
So how this whole thing comes about is we do get the backstory to his wife passing away. I'm not even sure what she died. Did she die from cancer? Did they say that in dialogue? Did she die from cancer? I don't remember.
Anyways, I don't think they say.
Anyways, his son is a little bit younger, and then it jumps 7 years later, and his son's grown up and stuff, and of course 7 years has passed, and his son's like, well, you know, Dad, like you need to get back on the fucking horse here and go date some women, and that's how this whole thing comes about. So his son is actually the one that kind of pressured him into it. Now, I do have a question about this because I've seen this movie a few times over the years, and I always wondered this. See, the father, he's not really, you know, that ambitious about the whole thing. Like, he's like, yeah, it's a good idea and stuff. Like, you know, it took his son to kind of push him into doing this. So he wasn't gung-ho for himself. Now, he gets so hung up on this one girl. Like, like I always question it. I'm just like...
Well, it's literally the way he explains it. Like, you could see why he liked it, because whatever about that, her hand and the piano, or so, I forget what it was, or dancing, ballet or something.
Yeah.
Like, the way she talked about it moved him.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I remember the part. Okay.
I've seen this movie 3 times now, and I still don't like it. I don't know. It fucking just... It drags for me. I mean, the narrative at least is somewhat interesting.
It's a slower film.
It's just, I don't...
Slower film. This movie is like snail paced, man. It's crazy slow.
This would not be a film I would ever want to rewatch. However, I was into the relationship building because I knew it was going to end bad, you know. And
okay,
so like, there is such few, like, you're right. Like, there's so much build up for like this little amount of payoff, but I thought the payoff was so good. Like all the little stuff, even when she's sitting on the floor waiting for the phone to ring with that sack, like that was creepy.
I just find it hard to believe that this guy, that's, you know, a successful person, is willing to ignore the obvious, well, not obvious red flags, but there's something up with this girl right from the start. Even the casting director even says, like, hey man, like even before he goes out with her even before he calls her, he literally says to him, he's like, yeah, there's something off about her. Like, there's something wrong with that girl. Like, nothing. And then he calls her and stuff, and then he ends up talking to the casting director again. And he's like, you know what, man? I was right. There was something off about this girl because I tried to, you know, get in contact with her references, and none of them know who. Either they don't know who she is, or they can't be found, or this one person, this one music director, went missing that she claims that she was involved with, blah blah blah. And so, like, all these red flags are kind of there. Like, why is this guy?
I guess that stuff doesn't bother me as much, who grew up in like the Tinder age, and like, you know, but people lie.
But this is my question. Like, he was never that ambitious about jumping back into the game.
Well, because
he gets fancy.
I know he gets fancy, infatuated. I know he gets fancy based on that thing.
But like, really, like, I always thought that, you know.
You know what
this
is
a guy that works for
sight,
you.
bro.
This is a guy that works for you.
Undeniable.
You got to trust him. This guy's got obviously.
Yeah, you would know with Carly. So
this guy's got good intuitive. Like, this guy does this for a living. Like, he has to read people to cast the right parts and stuff. I would kind of take his word for it and be like, you know what, man, there is something a little bit fishy here with none of the shit panning out and stuff.
How many times have you told? Like, I've told my boys, like, dude, look, I think this chick's a heroin addict. You probably should stay away from her. No, man.
I get
like,
that.
You just don't know her.
But he doesn't. But that's the thing.
Come on, man.
But a lot of the time, people end up knowing these people a little bit more. Like, he didn't know fuck all. He just knew about her story that moved him. That's it. He doesn't fucking know her at all. A lot of people that get infatuated people, they get to know him a little bit, and then they make their decisions and shit. But he doesn't know. He knows her from a fucking profile, dude. That just seems unbelievable to me, considering you're a guy that you 100% trust with, you know, your business and shit. This is what this guy does for a living, is telling you that there's something wrong with this girl, but you don't listen to him, and you continue to go basically kind of behind his back and just fucking do what the fuck he wants to do.
Here's the thing. I understand why you feel this way, because you're a smart dude. You wouldn't fall for this shit, but everybody isn't like you. There's a lot of gullible people who think with their heart out there, and that's what this guy is. He's gullible. He he's thinking with his heart. He's manufacturing this fake existence of a relationship that it's his fantasy relationship. It's what he desires in his head, and he's trying to manifest it through this girl. I buy it, man. I buy it.
See, I would buy into it a lot more if he was giddy about the idea. When his son brings up the idea, like, hey, man, you need to get back in the game, get yourself a girlfriend, maybe a wife. If he was all giddy, he's like, fuck yeah, son. Yeah,
Well,
I need to start slamming that
slump,
pussy.
though. It's not like he probably doesn't deeply desire somebody. It's that he's just going through the motions. He's just being that guy who lost his wife, thinking nobody could really replace her or whatever, but he has that emptiness in his heart. And when he sees someone who, just fills that void immediately, he just goes head over heels. And you can see this all play out in the ending.
What is this, about a horror movie or a love story?
I totally
Jesus
get that.
Christ.
I get that, but just the way he falls for her so quickly, it would have made more sense if he was giddy about the idea of finding somebody. But he, at the time, he's just like, okay, we'll give this thing a shot. But then he just seems to like dive right in because of this minute story that moves him. I don't know. It's just, to me, it's a little bit weak for myself because I know me, and I would never do that.
Neither would I.
But I have a hard time. I have a hard time believing.
I know fucking idiots who've gotten dumb relationships that they never should have.
Yeah.
Everybody was telling them the warning signs, and they go and ruin their lives with these girls. Like, I've seen it happen time and time again. Maybe not to where they get their fucking legs cut off and shit like that, but pretty bad stuff. Like, I've seen people get taken for like their entire career from evil women who had one thing on their mind, and it wasn't love, so that is not this girl. She's insane.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I'm saying? I understand where you're coming from, but personally I bought into it enough to be along for the ride. It is slow, man. It's a slow movie, but I actually think that, like Jeremy says, it's overrated as a movie, and I could totally see that. It does have a lot of hype.
Maybe it's just like a personal level with this one. I just never liked it.
I think you are onto something with that, because it's like you sit through all that and you're like, I've seen way crazier shit than that. But for whatever reason, it kind of worked for me with like one of the like super and this is where I think stuff people talk about this disturbing is the dog bowl thing, man. Like that
I've seen it before.
You know what, man? I think this is one of those movies that it falls into this classic case of cinema, whatever the term is going to be, that I'm probably just going to make up. It's one of those movies that is such a slow-paced film, and even though it's interesting, it's still a little bit forgettable. But
Sam's over there talking about it could have been longer. They could have. I'm thinking like, what the hell are you talking about?
Everybody,
bro? He says that a lot. He's like, I would have liked Welling's like 3 hours long. He's like, I could have used like another at least 50 minutes of character development. I'm like, what?
So anyways, it's one of those films that, like I said, the story is there. It's not overly that intriguing, or I mean, it's interesting, but it's a little bit forgettable. But I think everybody remembers this film for like the last 20-25 minutes.
It is, dude. I knew of the last.
And that's the last thing. That's the last impression you get from the film is all the good stuff. So that's why people give this one a lot of praise. And I truly believe that, man, because I don't think the rest of the film is bad. It's kind of boring, dude. It's actually.
I think if you've seen this film and didn't know anything about it, you went into it, and then all of a sudden you get that whole end sequence, you'd be like, holy fuck, we went into a completely another dimension.
I mean, all she did was stick some needles in him and cut off his foot. That's all she fucking did.
Oh, that's all. Let me just stick some needles.
But the way
and Saw has the same shit.
But this came out before Saw.
But the way
I understand that.
The way she gnaws off his foot though is fucking brutal, dude.
It is brutal. It's creepy. Like the whole thing where she's saying deeper, but it sounds like. Yeah. I'm like, stop it.
I liked her in this film too, because she pulls it off quite well, because if you watch her while she's torturing him, she is literally smiling and pulling it off so well, like she's insane. Like fucking psychotic to the bone, pun intended.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, man, she was pulling it off really well for me, man. But I think one of my favorite scenes in the film actually is when I don't even want to refer to these guys as their character names, because what's his name? Oh fuck. Aoyami, his last name. Anyways, before he's warned by his director, give it a bunch of days before you call her, but of course he only waits a couple days. And it cuts to her in her fucking little place, in her little apartment. And she's sitting there waiting for the phone to ring. And she's kind of on her knees, bent over. And she's been sitting there for days. Yeah. Like days waiting for this phone. Like that. I love that scene. That really captures how insane she is.
That's like that's the only hint of like super crazy level that you're going to get later in the film right there. And honestly, the film could have benefited from more of that sprinkled throughout. Yeah. Because you guys are right. There's these long ass sequences of like dialogue and I know that it was supposed to try to, up the development between the love story, but you are right that it almost doesn't make sense to do that because the guy, you can automatically tell he's head over heels already. So it's like they show their cards way too early. Like it should have been a longer development where he slowly becomes more into her, and maybe that reveal of the information of this, like she doesn't work here, she's never been here, that should have came way later too, and then it wouldn't have been as like blatant, like why are you following this girl, like the problems that you have with it. It probably should have been edited a little different or like came in a different structure in terms of story.
It is a weird structure that they use once they reveal, with what happened. I don't want to give it away and shit, but just like kind of looking back into the film, it's like, all right, that's what they just did, kind of thing. I don't know. The construction of the story, the way it plays out is kind of, it's very Japanese to do shit like that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? To kind of go back through it and stuff and kind of give you these things. But I do agree though, man. Like, I don't know, man.
This is a one-time watch for me. I really enjoyed it. I like this movie a lot, but I don't feel like it would ever. I feel like anytime I watch it again, my rating would just go down because the shocking stuff isn't going to have the same effect. The pacing would become even more drawn out because I'd seen it before, and there would be no suspense. So yeah, I mean, you've probably seen this film a couple times by now.
I've learned that this is one of those films that falls into the same category as Dawn of the Dead remake for myself. Every time I watch it, my rating goes down. The first time I watched this movie was, probably in the early 2000s. I remember renting it and thought it was pretty fucking cool. It was different. In 2002, probably, maybe 3, I don't know. But it was cool. You're like, wow, fuck, man. But upon rewatch, though, because I remember rewatching this one when the Arrow Blu-ray came out, and I was like, okay, it's not as good as I remember. And watching it again, which is a couple years later, and me really just kind of picking it apart, just going, this guy is not that smart. Like, there's so many red flags and shit, dude. Like, you have 30 if you really wanted, you could go ahead and pick another 30 girls and redo this shit. You can find the right one, dude, even though she moved you, but it's just not enough for me, man. The story at the core, man, is weak to me. The visuals, this movie is acted really excellent. It's shot beautifully. I love how this movie was shot. I think it was probably shot on 60 millimeter. I think a lot of, besides his video films that he did, like Visitor Q and shit, he shot a lot of I think all 3 of the films that we're reviewing tonight were shot on 60 millimeter. They all have that same look, like that really gritty kind of bland look. Like, I love that.
I know what Ichi was.
It's very dull looking, but I love that though. It fits the tone of his films perfectly. But yeah, man, I don't know. This one just doesn't do it for me anymore, man. It really, really doesn't. I still I enjoy it, but I don't love it like I used to, for sure. No.
Ratings?
Jeremy.
I give this one a 6.5. Like, it's watchable and everything, but it's like I said, it's the third time I've watched it now, and I've always not liked this movie, even since like the first time I've watched it. I think it's just a personal preference that I just don't like the movie. I mean, it's fine. I just think the first time I watched it, I went into it thinking I was going to get one thing, and I got another thing, and I watched it again.
Did this make our 100 list?
No.
I don't think so.
Okay.
And then now I watch it again, and I still don't like it, but it's watchable. I give it 6.5, like I said.
Yeah, it's definitely watchable. Yeah, I mean, I explained it. It's not as good as I remembered it to be. Definitely suffers from multiple watches. And you know what's funny? I remember reading a review years ago about this, and someone even saying the same thing, that a lot of Japanese cinema, like these type of movies, suffer from rewatching.
All four of these movies are one and done for me, man.
I honestly, dude, I could watch Gozu again. I love those type of bizarro nightmare type films. Like, it's just, they're entertaining to me. Like, I can watch Lynch films over and over again, because if you know anything about David Lynch, he doesn't really try to put a lot of deeper meaning into his shit. You know, people analyze the shit out of his films, but they're just like, well, you're analyzing it for nothing. Don't mean shit. I like that. It's kind of cool. But yeah, this one right here, man, I'm still going to give it a 7. I think there's a lot of good things here. It's, you know, it's shot beautifully, acted awesome. The story just gets weaker and weaker for me, but we'll give it up. The effects in the end, still pretty good. Mm-hmm. Makes me cringe. I won't lie, man. I won't lie. It's
it's better than our next movie.
So, but yeah, 7 out of 10. I used to be really high on this one. Like, I think the last, like, probably last time I watched it, I was probably up at like a 9, dude. You know, yeah. Like, I was high on this one, like maybe 8.5, 9. I used to, and
that's a big drop, man.
It is, man. I know. I had to say it though. I was like, this.
There's certain movies that you shouldn't watch again. I've said that before. I know Dave is like rewatch Dave, and he's right a lot of the times. But there's certain movies that are never gonna come close to the feeling that you got the first time you watch it. Like, Saw does actually repeat that for me a lot, but like Cujo, like I remember when I first seen Cujo, I was like frightened by it. It was like so intense.
Yeah, Cujo.
Watching it now, I'm just like, fuck, this kid's annoying. You know what I mean? But yeah, so this movie, first time watch for me, I really liked it. You know, I mean, I didn't like that it was 2 hours and whatever, almost 2 hours. I feel like Takashi could cut down his movies a lot, honestly. Like, I feel like he keeps too much shit. But
it's a typical thing in Japanese cinema, though, like, or in Asian cinema in general. Yeah. They generally have long motherfucking movies, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, and you can make the argument. Well, you're just saying that because I criticize MMA media because they complain about how many cards there are, and I'm like, they're just saying that because they have to cover them. Like, I love the amount of cards that there are, and anyway, so it could be that we just, you know, we watch too many movies, so it's like the time limit bothers us or whatever. But yeah, I actually like the love story, like mostly everything in the film. A little too long, but I'm coming in at 8. I really like the end too. That hooked me. It bumped a point.
You know what? Another thing, actually, speaking of the ending, is how much of a pussy his kid is, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets away from her, you know, she goes to spray him with some shit, and he kind of eludes it at first, and then, like, dude, you realize that she just has, put your head down and fucking take her out. Tackle her. Take her out, man. Fight back. He fucking runs up the stairs like a little baby back bitch, and then he does get the upper hand by fucking kicking her down and shit, but come on, dude. That's some pussy shit right there.
It's like Japanese It's like Japanese cops. They're a bunch of pussies.
I don't know if I could say that about all cops. I'm sure there's some badass ones out there, but anyways, I thought it was actually kind of interesting that these 3 films got picked because they're so close in time wise, like 99 to 2003. It seems like an era of Takashi Miike kind of thing. But moving along into the year 2001. With probably one of his most famous and infamous films. Everybody knows about this one. Even if you haven't seen the film, you've probably heard of Ichi the Killer. This movie is based off a Magnum series in Japan.
Manga, you dumbass.
Well, there you go. I've never read one. I don't know how to say it properly. So
go back to grade 7.
He's talking about condoms.
Is Jeremy fucking correcting me on the way I pronounce shit? Are you fucking with me? God, this show's fucking done. I'm fucking done. See you guys. See ya. All right. Ichi the Killer, man. Yeah,
that wasn't that effective. You were supposed to leave a few seconds of silence, you fucking dumbass.
I did. There was 2 seconds there.
All right, Ichi the Killer is
Okay, man. So, synopsis here, man. A sadomasochistic Yakuza enforcer, Karihara, searches for his missing boss. He comes across Ichi, a repressed and psychotic killer who may be able to inflict levels of pain that Kawahara has only dreamed of. Fuck these names. Oh, it's a mouthful.
You're just racist. Oh, that's what she said.
It's a mouth fucking fall. God, these names. I don't even think Japanese people can say these names properly.
I probably assume they probably will.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Ichi the Killer. JP, were you shocked after an hour of thinking that Hakakira?
I was more freaking annoyed than shocked. I was like,
really? He's a fucking badass,
different dude, man.
But
what
dude,
the fuck?
But dude, you gotta realize,
badass.
I mean, within the first 10 minutes of the film, they do say his name, and this guy's like organizing shit. He's like, dude, I need to go find my boss right now and shit with all of his guys.
Yeah, but like, you know how certain movies, some people call like the person their real name, and then someone will call them like a Bronx Tale, like Colorgio.
I think you were just very influenced by the cover of the film, being he's on the cover with Ichi the Killer.
Well, yeah, he should be the fucking star, man. He should be Ichi the Killer.
Star.
He should be Ichi the Killer. Why can't he be Ichi the Killer?
Yeah, Ichi's not real. Like, I mean, he kind of is.
Itchy's lame, dude. Itchy's lame as fuck. This dude's way cooler than Itchy.
Because total G.
Because Ichi is like a total fucking mess.
He's a lame ass.
You know, like he's... The story that they give Ichi in this is just, it's so fucking bizarre. You know, you assume that he's been bullied, but he's not. And then it's confirmed that he wasn't bullied within the film, and he's being actually kind of used, you know, as a revenge monger.
Yeah, he's a dumbass.
Yeah, he's a revenge. He's basically gooped into fucking, you know, killing off all these Yakuza because this dude has a fucking problem with him. He's got this guy. It's actually kind of an interesting premise that you can do that to somebody, but. You know, using this guy's past, you know, quote, but...
You don't find this movie entertaining, JP?
Yeah, I do. I just
like
think
when he's fucking cutting out his tongue like a fucking total G. Like, that guy's a fucking badass.
I didn't understand that. So his tongue grew back?
No.
Well, no, he says in dialogue, he says in dialogue, he's like...
Your body rejuvenates, but it's not like...
Because he's insane. He honestly thinks that he can regenerate his fucking tongue, or his tongue, but
don't they show it? And it's
he just cut out the tip.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
A big tip.
Yeah, yeah, he did cut out. I mean, the end result was a lot of tongue for sure. but yeah. Yeah,
no. One of the best scenes in this entire movie is the suspension on the goddamn things and the hot grease.
Oh, dude! Like
when they're hanging that guy.
He's an interesting character, man. I actually really like the character.
The whole movie should have been about him, and fuck this Itchy thing because it's dumb. Honestly, I hate the Itchy thing. I thought it was stupid. This guy got a fucking blade that comes out of his shoe. Like, get out of here with that shit.
That's fucking awesome, dude.
It's lame.
I honestly
very Japanese.
I honestly think that his getup is lame. Like he looks like he's wearing like a really shitty Halloween costume.
Yeah,
essentially, he's got like these little minor hats.
Or not Itchy, fake Itchy, the blonde Itchy. He's Itchy. Badass. Like he's walking around in all his cool fucking purple gear and shit, and he just looks like a thug, man. He just looks like he's gonna fuck some shit up.
I'm a little bit relieved that. You know, because his background is that he's into sadomasochistic shit and stuff. And there's one really interesting scene in this film where they're talking about how he wants to find his boss because, you know, how he would inflict pain on him, not in a gay way. You know, you love your boss, but not in a gay way and stuff, because you enjoy how he beats the shit out of you and stuff. And I'm just like, man, this guy is so fucked up, man. I've always found sadomasochism to be totally interesting, but it's disgusting to me at the same time. Like, I just don't understand pain and pleasure when put together, you know. I find this is interesting when you put this type of character on there and he enjoys it. But that torture scene, man, is like his character, his personality coming out completely in that scene. You know, I love it. It's so fucking brutal, dude, when he pours that hot grease on his back. I'm just like, oh, you gotta be fucking
I just like how he has absolutely no remorse for anybody or anything, or like,
he's a sociopath. He's a sociopath. 100%.
Yeah. But like, then you got this whole.
Twins. I like the twins. They were my favorite characters. They were fucking funny as hell.
When that one like beats the shit out of a chick, because she wouldn't answer him. Like, I like the violence level in this film. Like, it gets a little, like, there's some really bad effects in here.
Yeah.
But there's some
of the
good
CG is like
in here.
very 90s looking CG.
Oh, it's horrible. It's cute too bad.
Dude.
It almost seemed like some of the effects were done on purpose to be bad. I don't know. It's weird. Like the scene where he chops the guy in half. Well, no, when he kicks that guy like right in half. That one fucking rapist dude. And I'm just like, oh my God.
Japanese movies do that a lot. I don't know. I don't care for it much.
Well, if you notice, if you watch a lot of Takashi Miike films, all his films have subtle dark black humor in it. Like even Audition has a couple scenes where you're just like, ha ha ha. It's like he just subtly puts it in there. This one has a lot of comedy in it though. Like if you look at the reactions of guys in dialogue,
this is not a serious. This isn't a serious movie.
No, this movie is practically more of a comedy than it is anything else.
Yeah,
and that's why
I'd agree.
That's why I think that some of the effects were done. They just didn't put a lot of effort into them because it added to the comedic elements to the film. I mean, give me a break.
I mean, I kind of get it, right? Like, okay, I want to do a scene where this dude gets split in half, and it's like, well, I know that I can't make it look good, so how about instead of making it look mediocre, I just make it look bad?
Dude, the scene where Ichi goes in there and fucking takes out like 10 Yakuzas. If you watch when there's like blood and body parts and shit that are flying out the door, the fucking effects are so bad right there. It like, dude, what about when bursted out laughing.
Puts his arm in it, his hand in his mouth. It's fucking awful.
Yeah, I know, dude. That makes no sense either.
It's like, did he take like the piercings off his chin and that made his mouth open wider?
Well, he's got those.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, because at the beginning you could see that those are open wounds because he blows smoke through them.
But they're
just tied together by his piercings.
That guy's a total badass.
The thing that's stupid about that scene is like he was anticipating being punched in the mouth. He's like, I'm going to take these things that hold my mouth open or closed off. And then he's going to punch me, and I'm just going to, fucking bite his hand and shit.
See, my main problem with these type of movies, though, is, like, I can enjoy it. I can enjoy it. Like, I can see that open, like, where he bites the hand thing and like, laugh at it and stuff. Like, what the fuck am I watching? But anytime that I see a movie like this, I just feel like a better movie is underneath it. Like, they could have made a better movie had they not done all that shit.
Like what kind of stuff?
Like, just all the over-the-top, like, ridiculous shit. Like, if you just made a movie about that blonde dude and his, like, level of depravity and violence, like, I feel like that could have been a better movie than this.
Yeah,
because that scene of violence where, he has the guy suspended and the oil and stuff and the pin, the needle pin things, like, that's some hardcore shit, you know what I mean? Like, if that was the whole movie, I think you got a really violent, disturbing...
Oh, when he snips the guy's cock off, bro.
But I think, though, I don't think the intention is here... Like, I mean, right from the get-go, it's meant to be a comedy, right? So I don't think they're trying to worry too much about making it a great film.
I think that if you did worry about it, it would be better.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you could tweak this film to the point where it could be obviously really good. Better effects and... Even short. I mean, this film runs 2 hours and 9 minutes.
Way too long, man. This movie is way too long. For what it is, it's way too long. There's so much pointless dialogue in this movie that I can't even pay attention to.
What you said earlier about the ending, I actually I can't stand the ending in this movie for a couple different reasons. I hate the fact that, I don't know if you guys caught this, but like, when our sadomasochistic blonde killer, that's what I'm going to call him, is laying on the ground. Actually, when the guy walks up to him and he feels his forehead and he notices that there isn't a cut there on his forehead. You noticed that, right?
Yeah.
So the explanation for this is that he kind of tripped out and kind of imagined this attack on him where he flips off the building and essentially kills himself.
Wait, what? I didn't take it that way.
Yeah. Because he never got attacked by him. That's what they're showcasing. When the guy when he kneels down and touches his forehead and notices that there's no cut there, that attack never happened on...
Yeah, but then doesn't the cut...
It's never there. It never happens. He fucking illusions this whole thing, and when he flips off the building and, does his little dance on the fucking rail, and then...
Okay, why?
I don't know. I've never been able to understand this. I've watched this movie a couple times. I'm like, why in the fuck did Miike do that in the film? It literally makes no sense. And it doesn't need to be there. Why didn't you just have Ichi fucking attack him for real and force him off the building? Because that's what we're anticipating going to happen. But you got to throw this kind of strange little twisty in there. I'm like, what the fuck for? I never understood it for the life of me why he did that. So
y'all got to admit Ichi's lame, dude.
Ichi's a mess.
He's lame, dude.
He's a whiner. The thing is with Ichi is that he's a crybaby whiner because he doesn't. Yeah. He has an identity loss. He's completely lost in reality. He has no idea who. Well, because he has memory loss too, right? He doesn't.
Why?
He doesn't.
Did they explain why though?
Yeah, they do. After he killed his parents, he actually legitimately killed his parents.
Oh,
yeah.
He
gets memory loss, right? So this is how the guy basically controls him. He says that you were bullied and all this shit, and then that's how he uses him to get at the Yakuza for whatever reasons. So yeah, I mean, there's this kind of element, but when you really look at the Ichi story, it is kind of lame. I mean, the bullying thing would have made a lot more sense than just his memory loss. Like the core story of Ichi's kind of lame, actually. His getup is pretty lame, but I don't know. This is a fun fucking movie. I just wish it was a lot shorter.
Fun.
I wish this movie was 30 minutes shorter, man, because there's a lot of action and ridiculous gore and funny ass dark moments in this film that keep you entertained through the whole thing, but it does run way too long.
Yeah, could you imagine if like a lot of the pointless dialogue was cut out and then it was just like boom, 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 bap, like all these like scenes of craziness. Like that would have been, you would look at this movie differently. You'd be like, oh, that movie's batshit crazy, man. You know what I mean?
I think one of the funniest moments.
I still think it's batshit crazy though.
One of the funniest moments in cinema history is when the dude that controls Ichi takes off his clothes. And he's all strong. And he's revealed to be like the strong man. The CG of his face on that body is the funniest shit I have ever seen in a movie in my life. I pissed myself laughing again. I was like, I forgot about some of these parts, right? And I was just like, oh, damn, dude, they did that. They put his face on this fucking huge bodybuilder. I'm like, oh, they did it. They did it so fun. Yeah. It's a fun ride. Like, you don't really think it's that fun, JB?
No, it's pretty fun. I just honestly, I thought the whole stuff with like the real Ichi, if that is his real name, was really lame, and I was much more interested in the blonde-headed dude who should have been Ichi, and I thought that the other Ichi was like pointless, and I didn't like it. I didn't like how the dude was controlling him. I didn't like how he had this weird fetish with like hurting women. He just like came off as stupid. Like he seems really stupid.
This movie is very rapey. This movie is insanely rapey.
It's pretty rapey.
There's a lot of rape dialogue. There's a lot of scenes with violent rapes. Hookers. And then then it goes to as far as say like Ichi even himself wants to rape women. It's fucking bizarre. Like he's kind of like this anti-hero. Like it's fucking his character is all over the place. It's insane. Mm-hmm. And then there's actually a scene where he's talking to this girl and things are happening and stuff, and then she's like, Ichi, I wanted you to rape me too. I was like, the fuck, this movie is so bizarre. Like rape is mentioned and visually shown so many times in this film. It's crazy.
Half the people speaking English and like them speaking Japanese.
Oh, that was that. She was supposed to be American.
Yeah,
like that particular prostitute was supposed to be American.
Doesn't it throw you off?
But how do those people like understand what you're saying?
That's the weirdness of Takashi Miike.
No, they do that in Gonjiam too.
Yeah, it's just something that I feel like it's just to like make it weird, like on purpose, like just to be like, oh, this is weird.
I know, because that's the problem with changing languages in a film is that the characters in the film need to know the language to understand it. So if you start speaking different languages, it's like me and you, we're talking all of a sudden, I start speaking Spanish, you're like, what the
right?
Yeah, like, 100%. Yeah.
I like it. So
I like how they refer to the dude as the old fart. That shit fucking cracks me up, man. They just refer to him as old fart. Ah, fuck. Come on, man. Dick and fart jokes. There's even dick and fart jokes in this movie. Come on.
What do you got on it?
What do I got on this one? Ichi the Killer, man. It's a fun, ridiculously over-the-top comedy / action, crime, minor horror. It's got horror gore in it. That's about it. That's the only horror in this film is the horror gore. That is intentionally over the top. There's JP. What did meant to ask you? What did you think about the scene where dude kicks that one bitch in the neck, slices it, and the spray, the blood,
and it's like.
It's like
I texted Moods too. I messaged Moods. I was like, JP's gonna go off on this splatter.
There's a much better one later in the film where it doesn't make that sound, but at the same time, that's this kind of movie. And honestly, that effect is Japanese to begin with. Mm-hmm. That sort of style.
Yeah, Ichi the Killer is probably one of the most bizarre anti-heroes ever in cinema. I don't know, like. The very first time you get to see Ichi, I don't know if you remember this, JP, but you get to see him kind of on a deck watching some dude rape a woman.
Yeah, and then he comes.
And he jerks off on this plant.
So fake.
It
looks nothing like semen.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, I know. I jerked off like 3 times today. It doesn't look anything like that. But like he like jerks off onto this plant because he's
it was all white.
Rape.
There was no red in it at all. I didn't get that.
No red? What the fuck?
Like normal semen, you know?
You have red in your semen?
You might want to go get that checked out there, buddy.
Is Carly giving you a fucking STD or something?
But I always thought that like that was a big load. That was ridiculously huge.
Yeah.
But so
that's
the first thing we get introduced to. We don't really know that's Ichi at the time. But thinking back on it, it's like, damn, that's how we get introduced to Ichi, is him jerking off because he's aroused by rape. This movie is crazy, crazy rapey. It's funny when you hear people talk about this film and
see, I thought this was about how the blonde dude became the way he did. Like, I thought that's when you would follow Ichi, I was like, oh, this is the blonde dude, and like this is why he's so fucked up. Oh, wonder how those scars got on his face. I thought it was gonna tell us eventually. Do you think he was inspired by the Joker? Like just the way he dresses and like the colors and stuff. Like,
yeah, I never thought.
It kind of just.
Yeah, I guess so.
Dude,
I never. That vibe.
I totally never thought of that, but now that you mention it, yeah, I mean, it resembles the Joker a lot. I mean, with the slits in the face and the colorful clothes, and I mean, he's a little bit more. Yeah, sadomasochistic than the Joker is.
Well, I mean, it's like the Joker if it was like completely done for adults,
Yeah. Yeah, I think the two things that plague this film, though, I can totally forgive the shitty effects because it is 2001. They're not meant to be, totally serious and shit. But just the runtime is a little bit too long in this film, and the ending. I hate the ending. I've always actually when Akira when he deafens himself, I thanked him. Because he couldn't stand Ichi's fucking cries. Ichi was being such a baby back bitch at that part and bawling his eyes out and shit. He fucking deafens himself on purpose. It's crazy. Got to thank him for that. But I'm not a big fan of the ending. I hate the ending of this film. I think it would have worked a lot better. When he kind of kills his brother, quote. That was kind of cool. But the ending and the runtime. But the ride in here is fun. It's fun, man. I'm giving it 7.5 out of 10. I like this movie. It's fun.
Yeah, I'm not like too far behind you. I do think it's an enjoyable movie. This is like a party setting movie, you know what I mean? It just frustrates me that like I think I would have liked it more had it just been a little shorter. Like I don't know, but I don't know if it's because like the setting in which I was watching it in the situation, or if it truly is too long. And I mean, I was all about blonde-headed Ichi. He was fucking cool.
Blonde-headed Ichi?
Yeah, the true Ichi.
Oh, fuck.
I don't give a fuck what Miike says. He's Ichi. And he's fucking crazy, man. Like I just want to see, like I can watch a whole movie based on what the fuck this guy's going to be doing. You know what I mean? And so not too far behind you. I came in at a 7 on this one.
Nice.
I'm coming in at an 8.
Wow, you came in higher than I did. Shit.
It's fun.
Yeah, isn't that weird? So far, I've came in higher than you on 1, and Jeremy's came in higher than you on 1. But you're usually more like into Asian cinema than I guess we would be.
Yeah, I mean,
let's see if we could complete the trifecta in the third film.
I think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, so it's
ratings.
Ichi the Killer, man. Yeah, good shit.
22 shots.
So, moving along here, man. Last one up for the night. 2003, we have got Gozu. Simply titled Gozu. Again, is it horror?
I mean,
it has a very
I'm not sure if Takashi Miike made a horror film, honestly.
Horror, you know?
He makes different types. I mean, this definitely has this has elements for sure.
What's his most horror film? Like, what's his most true to form horror film?
That's a good question, because a lot of his films are on this type of level. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'd have to actually think about that for a minute.
What about that one he made a couple years ago that Scream Factory put out?
You know what? I still haven't watched it, so I can't actually comment on that one.
That's funny. Originally, that was the third film when I created the Takashi Miike show. It was going to be Ichi, Audition, and that film.
I'm pretty sure that one is a straight-up horror film, though.
Yeah, that's One Missed Call. There's this horror film, right?
Oh, One Missed Call, yeah.
I guess I can only think of one thing when I think about this movie, and that's... It's just such a weird fucking scene.
And it's kind of funny, too, because it's like the entire setup and premise of the film. But here, we'll get into the synopsis. A Yakuza enforcer is ordered to secretly drive his beloved colleague to be assassinated, which is actually his brother. But when the colleague unmercilessly disappears en route, the trip that follows is a twisted, surreal, horrifying experience. I mean, the way to sum up this film, for the people who haven't seen this movie is 100% David Lynch inspired, I would assume. It feels exactly like a David Lynch film. If you mixed Eraserhead, maybe elements of Mulholland Drive, it has the exact same feel and approach to this film. It's a very simple premise. It's literally a guy driving his brother to,
get killed.
And what happens?
Then he becomes Weekend at Bernie'd, and then he disappears.
Yeah, so they have this little incident thing on the road there, and his brother ends up dying. It's like so fucking bizarre. I don't really know what the hell happened there. So he ends up in this small little town, goes in for a coffee. He's trying to figure out what the fuck he's gonna do. And when he comes out of this little coffee place, his brother is gone from the car. And so the whole movie is now us following the main character and him trying to locate the body because he needs to have the body to dispose of it, because he doesn't want him to be alive or whatever, because his life is at stake if he doesn't do the job, right? So he has to locate the body. And it's basically him going through a series of events, or just with these odd characters, having these interactions with very, very strange characters. I mean, we got older women with milk in their boobs. We've got
that's my favorite.
Some weird.
That's the weirdest scene.
I asked the guys and nobody answered me. Is those her real boobs? Is she really milking, or I couldn't find a hose, or I couldn't see if they were prosthetic or not.
Dude, I couldn't tell.
I would assume they're prosthetic.
I would assume they were too, but they did look real.
They looked pretty real.
All I want to say is it's hot in here, man. It's hot. It's really hot in here.
Yeah, so
I got to put another coin in.
It's just
I have big breasts.
It's just one bizarre event after the next in this film. It's just it's very David Lynch, man. A lot of things just aren't making sense. It gets to the point where, again, this movie runs 2 hours and 9 minutes, and it gets to the point where they almost had to do something like, he goes back into the coffee shop at one point, like later on in the film, and he's like, have you seen this person? And he's literally showing, it looks like a fucking little kid drawing of his brother. It's like so bizarre. And everyone's like, you were in here? Like, what? And like everyone's denying that he was in there. So it's like that type of bizarreness. And man, I love the aesthetic of this. It feels so like nightmarish. It's very subtle. The score is super subtle in this film. It's not very loud. It's super quiet, just like a David Lynch film. And I love that approach to it, man. It's shot again on 60 millimeter. It has that gritty ass look to it. Fantastic stuff, man. Really, really cool stuff. It's a film that I honestly could watch again, because it's so damn bizarre that it's entertaining enough that I probably get something out of it again, for sure. What do you guys think of this?
It's kind of hard to review.
I couldn't follow it, honestly. I was having a trouble even like getting what they were talking about. And
to be honest, it's not a film that you really like. There's a premise, and that's all you need to know.
It's just like he's searching for his brother.
The dialogue and stuff is meant to be weird.
I did feel like the eerie vibes that the film had, though, and I was getting a kick out of that, like, because I did feel that it was very, very, like, sort of, eerie, and just had this, like, almost like, I don't know what to say, like, not maybe Twin Peaksy type of just weirdo people around.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it would be Twin
I love this.
I've actually never seen Twin Peaks, but I feel like that's what people say when they mean that, but I'm not sure.
I absolutely love this setting, man. It felt so small town, but I loved how it was so dirty around. Like, the wind's blowing, you can see the leaves, the garbage everywhere. It feels very desolate. It feels like he's literally in Bizarre Town.
Yeah, like Eraserhead.
Yeah, that's exactly what it feels. And it almost has, it has this very minor and very subtle industrial sound going on in the background, just like Eraserhead too. I don't know if you caught that, Jeremy.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the coolest things about Eraserhead, and one of the most unique things in cinema history is that
it's the best part of that film.
The industrial sounds that he incorporated to create that setting and atmosphere is fucking unreal. But it's present here. It's very much so Lynchian. It's insane.
I don't think I've seen a single Lynch film.
Oh, if you've never seen a Lynch film, then this one might be a little bit hard to take, because it's like David Lynch films. Most of them don't. You've never seen
like Elephant Man, Blue Velvet, Eraserhead, Mulholland Drive, Twin Peaks,
Lost Highway.
I seen the first episode of Twin Peaks. It's like an hour and a half.
But Lost Highway sucks. That's his worst movie.
I don't mind Lost Highway. I think it's kind of cool. I like the driving scenes. The scenes have been duplicated to no ends. People have done that.
Now people are going to give me David Lynch films for Patreon. I know it.
but honestly, this movie would make a lot more sense. Maybe not in content, story wise, but if you'd seen Lynch, you'd be like, holy fuck yeah, totally, man. You can see what he was trying to accomplish with this. It's exactly like David Lynch. It's so unbelievable. It's the Asian version of Lynch.
Even like that guy with the peeling skin on his face.
Which is funny.
Totally Eraserhead.
I love that scene too. And he's like, oh man, he's like, I don't like when people kind of half look at me and stuff. It's just the pigment. And then you kind of you're like, wow, those are the worst effects ever. And then they do a close up when he scratches, and it's quite clearly like paint on his face.
Yeah. What was that scene that was like, he was in that trailer and they were like counting down? Like, what was that about?
Oh, when they were counting down from...
Yeah, what were they going to do when
from
he
30?
hit 0? It was like a riddle or something.
Yeah.
He probably never had an idea. He just probably put it in there because... why not?
I was like, I honestly... Like,
I think it was for him to get out of there or something like that. I can't remember exactly what that...
I watched this one late, and I was just like, I don't know what the fuck is going on in this movie.
But I mean, let's
this lady's milking...
There's a lot of
you see this little kid drinking this milk in the same bottle as this titty milk. That I'm like, damn, she got a lot of titty milk.
He really drew that fucking thing out, man. When she was filling up that baby bottle full of milk, like every time she squirts the milk into the bottle, she's
That's
like,
my favorite scene.
And it goes on for like 10 minutes, man. She's like,
I just thought it was like incredibly like hilarious that this because I feel like some of the streams were like hitting him or like coming close to him, and he's like not reacting. I just thought it was funny.
Well, she does turn to him.
Weird, man. It's just weird. Yeah,
she does turn to him and actually spray him in the face, like, and it's a stream of milk in his face. And I'm like, are you fucking serious?
Like,
right now?
It feels like those are like, I feel like that woman is really lactating. Like,
no,
it looks very similar. If you've ever seen anybody do that,
but of course. He's got other shit like, the dude wearing I guess it would have been the sheep head or the goat head, the big tongue that licks him and shit.
That's a weird part.
It's so fucking...
That's what's on the cover.
Yeah, it's so weird. It just kind of comes out of left field and just happens, and you're like, okay, that's fucking
I just
bizarre.
laughed when he set him up in the car in the beginning and he puts on the glasses. I was like, it's fucking straight up Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah,
I was like looking around at some reviews and somebody literally said that too.
Yeah.
Well, it's 100% Weekend at Bernie's, yeah. So this movie's like really, really bizarre, but then
there's some great effects at the end though. Like, I will give it mad props for the effects at the end.
Yeah, in structure, it's very much like Audition. It's got like this kind of slow thing going on.
I said it last night too. I was like, oh, so this is where the horror is.
Yeah,
it's all at the end.
But you gotta admit, man, like the whole brother woman thing is beyond bizarre.
Yes.
Isn't everything in this movie is beyond bizarre?
But it's like really, really bizarre because, you know, obviously our main character doesn't want to believe that that's his brother, but she knows things about him that he only would know and stuff. So he kind of buys into it. And then he's like, okay, he kind of accepts it, but then still wants to fuck her. I'm like, dude, you're fucking your brother. If you believe that's your brother inside there,
I'm your sister.
You're fucking your brother? It's like, there's a scene where like she's sleeping and he kind of like digs her and she's like, well, you know, if you want to have sex with me, wake me up first. It's like, what?
This film's quite rapey too.
I was like, what the fuck is going on? This is crazy. I couldn't remember this movie for the life of me, man. It was like watching it for the first time. It was so awesome. But
it's a strange one.
I think it gets the ending to this movie is just beyond bizarre. It's so Takashi Miike. I love the ending to this movie. It's
the ending's
crazy.
It's like probably my that's probably my favorite. And then the titty milk thing is really good too.
I just like some of the characters when the guy keeps repeating like the same weird dialogue. Like,
it's hot in here.
Yeah, it's hot. It's like they're just talking. They're not talking gibberish, but they're just not making sense.
And then he gives him that stirred and he pukes everywhere for some reason. That's like, what the fuck's going on?
You know what they say, Moods? If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
And what's up with those? Are those urinals or toilets? Because they're like so like low to the ground. Like, what is he puking in? It doesn't have a bowl.
I think that's their toilets, I guess.
Is that how they? Do they just like squat?
Well, what about
potties?
What about the scene with the dead server? It turns out the server's dead, and he's like in the bathroom with his pants down, and the door kind of opens, and then you hear him fart. He's like this, and then both guys they kind of plug their nose and like, ew, it stinks. And the guy turns around, he's like, ugh. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? It's so fucking weird, man. I love that shit, man. I'm sure JP hated that because he farted.
Yeah, I'm not a big fart fan.
You don't like fart jokes?
But it was, again, you know, like everything in this movie just out of left field. But I got a kick out of that because the revelation of this server who had been killed 3 years earlier or some shit. I'm like, okay. Again, falls perfectly into the nonsense of the film, really. It's awesome. Pretty good stuff. It's fucking Nightmare, man.
Just like Eraserhead.
How would you class it? Like, if you is it the same thing as Eraserhead, just strictly a nightmare?
It's avant-garde. That's what I just experimental avant-garde weirdness.
Yeah, because this one just everything that's happening, you know, just with
you have to like experimental films to like this movie. To be honest,
I love how he gets the picture of his brother and shit. Like it just kind of like floats through the air into his hand. That shit is fucking bizarre to me too, man. It's like random like little kid drawings on the walls and shit. Mm-hmm. It's fucking weird. I really enjoy this shit, man. I think it's good. It's definitely hard to review because there's really not much going on. You can just talk about scenes in this film. He's looking for his damn brother.
Concurrent narrative or anything.
It's kind of funny though. Like it feels bigger than it is though. You know, like it seems like he's going from place to place, but he's really only in like the hotel and the coffee shop, like the whole movie.
Yeah, he goes. He's like over in the coffee shop or whatever, and then he goes like right back to the hotel, and he's like, it's like a brother. Like they say the brother and sister thing, and he like knows where it is. It's like right where he was.
Yeah, fucking weird. I actually one of my favorite scenes actually is when he first meets the old lady with the milky boobs.
Yeah.
In I guess the hot tub or the sauna or whatever he's in.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, that whole scene is just making me laugh. Funny.
Yeah, she like literally says like I have really large breasts or something.
Yeah. And then she just out with it says, you know, you want to taste my milk?
Yeah.
He's like, what? We don't.
And then there's that. Isn't there like a after that scene? There's like a light that's like leaking milk or something. Like a light on the ceiling or something.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. fucking weird. I don't even know what did she do there? Was she one of the cooks or was she like a maid? Or what was her occupation?
She's like the owner, I think.
Was
like
she the owner?
Her and that dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, maybe was she the wife? I don't know. Fuck.
Yeah, I thought they were the owners.
Yeah, because she talks about like we said we don't have.
But they're not together.
Hours and stuff. No, they're brother and sister, but they are like kind of together.
That makes sense. Okay. No.
Incest.
Yeah, yeah. That's weird.
JP's favorite.
It's kind of an underlining theme here. Incest that's going on in this film. Fucking weird. Well, ratings on Gozu?
Jeremy. Or is it back to me?
It's back to you.
It's you.
All right. Honestly, guys, like, I didn't love this movie. It was coolish, but it was long, and I didn't really get a ton out of it, but a couple cool scenes, couple like weird things. I don't know. I didn't know what to make of it. I was hoping that this conversation
Totally a
would invite
movie
me.
Joe Bob should show at 4 a.m. after a 24-hour marathon.
Yeah, maybe he could probably explain some shit or something because he's a master. But yeah, I was hoping to be enlightened a little bit more, but I feel like it's just what we talked about. You know, it's like there's not really much to say. I still thought it was, you know, entertaining enough, I guess, but I'm coming in at a 6.
Fucking Joe Bob pull out a map and be like, this is where the hotel is, and this is where the restaurant is, and
Nice.
I give this one a 7.
Yeah, I'm definitely the highest in this one, man. I thought this movie,
So the trifecta did work.
rewatching it was just so much fun, man. The whole setup to the movie, I almost fell off my sofa today laughing. It's so funny. So the reason why our main character has to kill his brother because the Yakuza's figured that his brother's lost his mind. There's a scene where in the beginning of the film where he believes that this little chihuahua, like this little fucking 5-pound dog, is this killer Yakuza.
Killed the boss.
Yeah, this killer dog. So he goes outside.
That scene is great. I didn't know that he... Like, I didn't know that that's what had happened there. Like, I didn't know that he was losing his mind. I thought he was just going out there to prove something. Like, I'll fuck up this thing.
He's like...
That actually makes it more funny that everybody's in there like, what the fuck?
Yeah, dude, so he goes outside, and he fucking picks his dog up, throws it on the ground, stomps on it, does it again, and then he starts whipping around in the
great.
air.
I maybe didn't appreciate it as much as
so funny.
6.5.
It's quite obviously not a real dog. It's so funny when he throws it against the window and it just fucking... It's totally like a fucking stuffed dog. It's so funny. But he fucking starts whipping this thing around above his head like a lasso. I just fucking lost it laughing. It was like, it's so funny. It kind of leads into it, like, you know, so they're on their way to the assassination place, and then all of a sudden they're being tailed by, well, not tailed, but there's a car following them. And he like pulls over and loses his fucking mind again. He assumes, and he tells his brother that he's like, "Hey man, that's a killer Yakuza car.
It's following us.
Yeah, they're following us. A killer Yakuza car." And then the shit goes down from there. But so I guess, you know, Miike's mind was, you know, to showcase that maybe he was kind of losing his fucking mind. I don't know, losing his marbles and shit. Because it was like some old lady. And I have to say, man, whoever backed that car up in the film had to have been the worst driver in the world. Like, they're doing S's in the road like crazy. It's fucking cracked me up. I was like, who's driving that shit, man? You're gonna fall off the bridge.
JP.
Fucking so funny.
Wait, I'm not a bad driver.
So funny. But I love the aesthetic. I love the nightmare feel of this. I love all the characters are interesting because they're so bizarre. I just couldn't wait for them to introduce another character in the film. Just like, what, how weird is this next one going to be, kind of thing. I love movies like this, man. I'm a huge David Lynch fan, so this one really works for me. 8 out of 10. You know, this movie actually it played at Cannes back in the day in 2003 and got such positive reviews. It was supposed to go straight to... I did
read that.
Yeah, it was supposed to go to DVD, and then it did so well at the Cannes Festival that it actually got a small theatrical release.
US theatrical release. Yeah,
which is that's fucking cool. You know, that's really cool. So.
I could see this playing well at a festival back in early 2000s.
Yeah.
This is kind of what you hope for, stuff like this. You know,
for sure, man. If I was at Cannes and I saw this film, I was like, that's awesome. That's totally worth the admission. But yeah, so that's Gozu. That's Takashi Miike. You know, 3. I wouldn't say of his better films. I mean, it's up for debate. I mean, a lot of people like these 3 films. I've
only seen 2 other of his movies. I've seen Dead or Alive, and I've seen his Master of Horror episode.
Okay. Yeah, he's Less Than Evil, in my opinion, is one of his best films. That would have been a fun one to talk about because it's so relevant to today. I think I reviewed it on the film or on the show, didn't I? I did talk about that one. It's about the teacher. It's about the teacher that kills the students.
Oh, yeah.
It is fucking batshit insane. Like,
I think you talked about that last week.
The on-screen kills are just, it's mind-blowing how violent and brutal this movie is. It's insane. It's, in my opinion, it's one of Takashi Miike's best films and needs to be seen. And it's right, like Dylan even said to me, he's like, I've never heard anyone talk about this film. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, man. But then again, it's hard to keep up with Takashi Miike films because he puts out so many of them. But, yeah, I had fun with this, even though it was a lot of prep, like 9 hours for 4 films.
I didn't have fun at all with this in terms of like prep. I did like the movies. Like everybody thought I was hating the movies. Like when I was bitching, like I wasn't hating the movies. I was hating how much time it took to watch them.
Jeremy, I was going to ask you, did you purposely watch Gonjiam Haunted Asylum on purpose?
No.
Just to fit into the Asian theme?
No, I just watched it because it had Asylum in the title.
Oh, okay. So I literally was going to review an Asian film just to kind of, continue on with the theme here. And that was the one that I was watching. I was going to review. I'm glad that I watched other stuff because that would have been embarrassing.
No, I just would have reviewed Trench, whatever the hell it's called.
Oh, Trench 11?
Trench 11.
Oh,
yeah.
fuck. Honestly, I had a list of 3 films because I didn't know how many we were going to do today. And I watched Trench 11. What'd you think of it?
Give it a 6. It's an interesting idea. I just think it...
Dude, I already forgot what I rated it.
7.5.
Yeah, I liked it, but I wanted a little bit more explanation to what they were creating. Mm-hmm. They didn't really go into it.
Is it a Nazi film?
It's not. It's World War I. And it's, the Allies, Americans and Canadians. This basically about this Canadian tunneler that gets,
Oh, isn't there a new like war horror film coming out, Jeremy?
Yeah, Overlord. Yeah.
Oh, when's that come out?
November 9th.
Oh, okay. It's not till November.
I've already heard good things about that one.
That
looks awesome.
It looks like the visuals of like the bodies hanging in the trees and shit looks great, but then it gets almost into like I'm a little worried it might get into like a Resident Evil Underworld like over stylized thing later, but I don't know.
It's bad robot, so.
Dude, when the guy in Trench 11, the one dude takes that shotgun to the head, that was a pretty good effect. Mm-hmm. That looked gnarly, man. Fucking pretty good shit. It's a subgenre of horror films that doesn't get touched on a whole lot. And
I love me some more horror. I wish there was more of them.
What was the one that we did? What was the one that we did a long time? Oh, the
Squad.
The Squad. Yeah,
it had a lot of potential because like the visuals were great, but
I don't think I watched that one.
No, you weren't on that show.
That movie was
was the first show you weren't on, I think.
It was super atmospheric and really, really well shot, but the story was just kind of bland.
Mr. Jones was.
It was super bland.
Yeah.
It was such a disappointment because me and you both like these type of films. And
one cool one from 2002 is Death Watch.
Death Watch, yes, that's an awesome film. Really, really. And that one takes place in World War I also.
What about The Horseman? That movie's fucking brutal.
The Horseman, like the revenge film?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I recently
I'm surprised there's not more war horror films that really... I want one that really is a blend of the genre. Like, one that really captures the, like, atrocities of war with the actual, like, horror of, like, whatever the ghosts or fucking zombies or whatever the situation is. But like, I don't know, it would be awesome.
They make a lot of Nazi zombie films, but
well,
like
that's
full-on
it's easy because Hitler and the occult and stuff.
Yeah,
you know.
But yeah, I get it though, man.
Orange juice and stuff.
I think a lot of low budget filmmakers are just scared to tackle the war backdrop, or theme in their films
horror,
because
right? You want it to look, if it doesn't look
expensive
accurate,
it's expensive because
you
need
lose your movie.
That's the thing, man. Low budget and being accurate, to the times and the costumes and the wardrobes and stuff. That's a little bit costly. I think it's hard to do. You need a bigger budget to do these war films. I mean, even to get the gun, like there's a lot of things that go into it, right?
Yeah, and I am like, I'm not huge into war. Like, I'm not some kind of expert or anything, but like, I'll tell you if a gun doesn't belong, you know what I mean? Or something like that in a lot of the wars. And, yeah, you're right. You need a lot of set pieces to make it look accurate.
I think one of the coolest things about Trench 17, fucking Trench 11 is the fact that the one crazy ass dude in the film, Jeremy, he was rocking that Model 17.
Yeah.
And that's kind of cool, man, because the Germans deem those guns as inhumane. The Germans deemed those guns inhumane, so they didn't.
Yeah,
use those
but that
type of
was
things.
before like
for
Hitler's
sure.
buzzsaw and stuff.
I thought that was really interesting that they had this guy carrying a Model 17. He was the only one in the film too, and it was done there purposely for that reason. I'm like, that's pretty decent filmmaking, you know, if you knew that fact. So I like that. But yeah.
Outro.
That's it for episode 142. Is it 140? Yeah, 142. Fuck, it's funny I forget by 3 hours.
Is it 142?
Yep, 142.
And yeah, Jeremy, take us out of here.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening to episode 142 of the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror podcast. As always, you can follow the man Moods himself at youtube.com/doubleshot. Oh, my God. youtube.com/moods616. You can follow JP over on his channel and go over there and tell him how the Pittsburgh Steelers lost at youtube.com/doubleshotj. So always follow me on my channel at youtube.com/NESRuler22. So always please follow us on the Facebook page, facebook.com, search bar 22 Shots of Moods and Horror podcast, and follow JP on Twitter at twitter.com/22 Shots podcast. And as always, leave us a voicemail at 724-426-6665. And please support the Patreon to get the sand sucked out of my for JJ. Patreon.com/22 Shots podcast. Oh, yeah, and our email at 22 Shots Moods and Horror at gmail.com. That's 22 Shots Moods and Horror at gmail.com. That should do it, everybody, for episode 142 of the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror podcast. We'll be back soon with an episode of something.
I think it's the Halloween. It'll be like a Halloween themed one.
Yeah. Halloween theme.
All right.
Viewer's choice.
See you guys next time. Yeah, I think so. If all goes as planned.
Check you guys then. Pick some good ones.
Deuces.
Yeah.